get some freaky looking.
When it starts turning green, that's when you have to worry.
Well, it was like when I turned out of my neighborhood and started coming this way. It was one of those where it's like a sci-fi movie where you get people looking the other direction. Like, oh, no,
That's not good, yeah.
not on their lawn, looking up at the sky.
I've been meaning to take a look at this.
Thank you. Yeah, I was saying the 3:30 is very informal. You could be doing that then instead of feeling like you're in a rush.
But we're better off.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It was just me and you right up there.
with those guys over there.
Okay.
And that's unfortunate. Because I
I was just over at during the city council meeting.
Yeah,
And they're talking about it, so I was hoping that somebody from the newspaper would contact you guys
Thank
and
you.
let you know what went on over there. So it
anyway,
helped
I appreciate
your
your
decisions.
yeah.
things like this.
I don't know if there
We will never get this.
is the newspaper people over there.
Yeah,
Oh.
somebody,
Well, then we have one back here,
well,
so
and that's what they said, so I
they
have
might
to go
communicate. Yeah,
to let you guys know.
yeah. All right.
All right, we got a tornado warning right now.
It takes one time to go at these.
Well, we got Rob right here.
I just got it on the phone.
Yeah, I got a deal.
Rob?
Rob,
Router.
Are we under a tornado warning?
I've got,
Okay.
it just showed up on my phone.
Okay.
It sounds like it's like
Okay. Could you check and let us know if we need to? I'm gonna wait to start the meeting till we know for sure.
Scotts Bluff County in the Panhandle until 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. At 3:39, severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from near Yoder to Chugwater, moving eastward.
I'm gonna send a note to my family.
What the weather said, is the, storm was located near Lake Alice, 11 miles north of Scotts Bluff.
These alarms here have not sounded, have they?
No.
I'm talking about the city of Gearing and city of Scotts Bluff. Okay. So as of this point, we don't have a, all right.
Rob, who makes that decision to set the alarms off?
Either when the weather service, transporter law
I
enforcement.
can't stay very late because
We've got a couple of reports of calls.
Okay.
It's out that way.
yeah. Yeah, I'll go home. I'll
somebody called the cops there.
leave around 4:30.
Or say protest.
Right.
Make sure they destroy the house or kill something.
Okay.
You say he's not seeing anything. Okay.
Sometimes what people see, they'll see a Scotts Bluff.
Well, I figure that we have the people, yourself and Rob, people and Cindy, that we got the people that'll tell us if we need to stop this meeting and take cover, right? All right. So we'll assume that that'll happen. Okay, we are a little late because of the weather potential. And I think all of you heard me say that we do have the experts in the room. And if there's a problem or we are under a specific warning for our area, then they'll let us know and we'll take cover accordingly. We certainly have the basement that I think is the proper location for protection. So, in any event, I think we will get started. We've done our invocation and opening prayer. Thank you, Russ, for that. Let me officially call the meeting to order. For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Law is back here on the east wall of the meeting room. And if anyone needs to see that or read that, you're welcome to do it. And then our next item is roll call. Kelly?
Harris.
Here.
Reisig.
Here?
Meyer.
Here.
Blue.
Here.
Parsley.
Here.
All right, if you'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, let me give my announcements. I want to welcome everyone here this evening for our meeting. I want to remind all that this meeting is being recorded. It's being recorded to be rebroadcast at a later date. It is not going out live. Remember, whoever would like to speak this evening, when you're recognized, be sure to come forward, state your name for the record, spell your name, which assists the clerk in getting the information correct in her minutes. You'll need to come to the podium in front of the microphone and speak into the microphone well. Remember, there's no swearing or any other inappropriate language. We all need to check our cell phones, try and turn them off or to silent if you could. I also want to remind the commissioners as well and staff to try and be sure you're in front of a microphone when we're speaking and that we speak loud enough and clear into the microphones. Our agenda is a little bit lengthy. We'll see how we do. If we get well over an hour, then we'll plan to take an 8-minute recess somewhere midway through the meeting. And I think that pretty well goes over the announcements. Our next item is approval of the agenda and or consider any modifications. Anything, Kelly, from you?
I don't have anything once I got it corrected
Okay.
for the duplication of items in under the general agenda, but
Okay. Anyone else have any?
I move for approval.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. We'll go ahead and vote.
you have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Remember, the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session if deemed necessary. As far as I know, we don't have any executive sessions planned for this evening, but we always reserve the right to do that. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is intended to have approval of several items. Those items tonight include the minutes, remittances, correspondence, and claims. And the intent is to adopt all of those items with one motion, unless someone wants to consider them separate. Anyone have any items they need to consider separately?
Move for approval.
Okay. Have a motion to approve it as presented.
Second that.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. All right.
Move into Board of Equalization.
Have a motion to go into Board of Equalization. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote on that.
I'll do it again.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. First item is to discuss and consider approval of one motor vehicle exemption for Buckboard Therapeutic Academy gearing. Let's see, Kelly, you said you were taking care of these?
It is used for a charitable purpose, and Heather does recommend approval. Tax loss of $8.
Okay.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the application for exemption for Buckboard Therapeutic Academy. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. We'll go to the next item, which is discuss and consider approval of one veteran vehicle exemption waiver for Joseph Scott. Matt, you're gonna give us some of that?
Yes, sir. My understanding, Matt Myers, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, M-E-Y-E-R-S. My understanding is you guys received a letter from me for, Mr. Scott and also his email. I think we've only done 3 of these so far, but this year we have the tax exemption for veterans on 1 vehicle. He purchased a vehicle in Colorado. Obviously, he didn't meet the timeline of the 30 days, kind of similar to Dustin Bruckner that we've already approved, and then I think Mr. Mathur was the only other one. The only thing I wanna highlight is if you're a veteran, and if you're rated 0 to 100%, this law has changed, so by state statute, we're supposed to be within that 30 days. When you're getting in transits out of Wyoming or Colorado, you're given 45 days in transits to 60-day in transit, and they're not getting the titles in time to register their vehicles here and get the tax exemption. So I think it's a total of $620 tax loss, and it was recommended for approval through Heather, depending on your guys',
Last meeting Heather was here, she said the only thing you need to do is just let the gal at the desk know that you want that exemption. There's no paperwork or anything else involved.
She did that,
That's-
or
that's
they did
not-
that.
This one was overdue.
yeah.
No,
this
no,
one's-
I understand on this one, I'm talking about any other time.
That's not entirely true. They need to come to our office, cause we have to go into a system that updates the DMV system.
Oh, okay,
So if you guys don't come to me probably a week prior to your registration coming due, I don't have enough time to get it entered into the system and get it approved through the DMV before you go up to the desk.
okay.
So if you're right at the end of that window, I can usually make a few phone calls and get it within the day, but they need to register in our office for the tax exemption. We click a bunch of things in retrospect, and then you're cleared for that.
What do they need to bring as far as paperwork, their registration or anything, or?
Nothing, as long as we can prove as long as we have your DD 214 on file already, and as long as you're service connected at
Okay.
0 to 100%, we put all those documents into retrospect. We send it to DMV in state of Nebraska, and then it should reflect it here.
And then they make the veteran makes a decision on what vehicle
Yep.
they want exempted then.
My
correct?
recommendation is the highest dollar value vehicle.
That would be mine also, but that's okay.
The only question I have, Matt, is in reference to, so the last page shows the vehicle registration information, motor vehicle tax is at the top. But I was of the impression that, veterans also, the motor vehicle fee was also included, was
That's
it
correct.
not, or?
It's correct.
Okay.
The sales tax does not get covered by the exemption. It's only the motor vehicle fee and the motor vehicle tax.
Or plates or whatever else, right, okay.
So
Thank you, Matt.
wouldn't that be 640 unless I'm not reading it right?
Yeah,
See,
you're correct. It would be 640.
but we're just reimbursing him the 620, even though,
It should be the 640. The
Okay,
note that
okay.
I have from Heather is the 620, but it should cover the motor vehicle tax.
okay,
and-
yeah, that's what that threw me, so.
You're correct.
That's good.
I would move for approval and accept on the exemption, please.
Of the 640,
640, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. We'll go to the next item. Next item is to receive the tax list corrections. Again, we get those in our packet, and there's 2 of them this evening. I'd ask if there's any questions of these. If not, entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
All right, is there a second?
No second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the or receive the tax list corrections. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, so the motion's carried. We'll go on to the next item, which is discuss and select dates for the 2026 protest hearings. So we had a meeting prior to this one this evening, and we discussed some of these issues. Robert, do you want to tell us exactly what we're looking at here?
Sure. So, in the meeting prior to this, we discussed a number of dates that we could have hearings, and I think we're going to know more in about 10 days as to the number of protests we're going to see. So we'll know a little bit better then. But initially, we're looking at starting on June 23rd, 24th, 25th, and the 30th for the days in June. We are also looking for, or the week after the July 4th, so that'd be the week of the 6th. We're looking at dates there. We could have hearings between July 10th and July 20th, but those are less desirable because we have board member out. So we would be looking at the 21st through the 24th of July to do any cleanup of if we have enough protests, if we have that many protests.
Okay,
Kelly has a question.
yes,
I just, if we could make it known that we were gonna try for commercial protests to be the 6th and the 7th.
Correct.
Just so property owners know that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, since we use a third-party appraiser, he's here all this month and most of next month. But he will be present for those hearings to be able to explain his valuation methodology on commercial properties. So if possible, we're gonna try to get them all in one or 2 days. Yeah.
the 6th and 7th.
Well,
6th
and
and
the
7th.
6th is a regular meeting, so it would be a partial day, so.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. I think, those are the dates the way I had them as well. Any other
Same-
questions to that?
Same here, we
Okay,
followed
you're
Do we
okay?
need-
along.
Do we need a motion to approve that, those proposed dates, or is it just a?
I'm assuming you want, do you want a motion at this point?
I mean, like, the days where we're not, we don't have a full board of equalization and we need them, we're gonna use them, so, I mean, I just
Okay.
wanted it
Said
on
in
the record
public.
that we were talking about it.
Okay. Well, if you don't need a motion, then we can leave it at that, I suppose.
To be determined, huh?
Right. So, yeah, no matter what, they're gonna be kinda determined as we go. But
That's
those
right.
are our primary dates right now.
Yeah, at the end of the day, everything has to be completed by Friday, July 24th.
Right, that's our,
That's
kind
our
of our
drop dead
drop
date.
dead
People planning to
deadline.
file a protest? Oh, you mean for us
For
to
the
have
hearings, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The taxpayers can file protests between June 1st and June 30th in the clerk's office.
Right, but we have to have the protest done by the 24th of July.
This year.
This year.
Statutorily, it's the 25th, but it's on a Saturday, so just to make that clear too.
Right, so it moved up to the 24th because of the weekend.
And statutorily, on or before the 25th, a lot of times something on a weekend gives you an extra business day. This
It does.
does not.
Okay,
Okay.
very good. Okay, I think we all understand that and know the dates that we're talking about, and we're gonna say, for this purpose, no action specifically is needed. So, all right. So with that, that's all with the Board of Equalization. If we could have a motion to go out.
I move we go out of Board of Equalization.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to go out of the Board of Equalization. We'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. We'll go on to the next section, which is road and bridge. Steve's got some items. The first one is discuss and consider mutual aid assistance agreement. Steve?
Okay, about a month ago, we passed a mutual aid agreement for the 11 Panhandle NACO counties, offering our assistance if there's disasters and stuff to go help other counties, as far as road departments, if need be. After we did that, apparently NERMA found some issues with that agreement or questions that they had raised, if something shouldn't be explained a little more or not. At that point, I hooked Kate Garton, I believe, was the attorney for NERMA. I hooked her and Jason up so they could go through the agreement. And they come up and work together as this agreement and drafted up this new agreement to take place of the other one that I think both NERMA and Jason are happy with. So I believe the changes are in bold print on your copy, if you can see the bold print. Some of them are really, I think, minor, might have just been like an expletive missing or something, and some things I think she just wanted more definition on, I think. as
Yeah,
well,
I think
so.
it was, NERMA, is in favor of this, was a believer in this, this was a good idea. They, liked the draft.
Jason, hang on. Sheriff, go ahead.
Weather update, tornado warning active in Scotts Bluff County, northeast quadrant near Lake Alice, moving east, so it's not affecting us.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thought I'd let you know.
thanks a lot. Go ahead, Jason.
There were a couple of the counties had some questions. I think primarily on some just kind of practical examples of, if they didn't have resources or, and while those things were in there, NERMA had talked to them, just adding a little bit of detail to kind of add to their comfort level. And then NERMA kind of took point in terms of recirculating it, but each of the suggestions that I spoke with NERMA, I was in full agreement with. Didn't fundamentally change the agreement. But I do think it just added a little bit of detail for a couple of those counties that maybe had some concerns to make them feel more comfortable, or just that they understood what the role would be if certain things arose. And so I didn't have any issues with any of the suggested changes.
Okay.
Just so Steve, so we're clear on this. Just so we're clear on this, no county is under an obligation to necessarily provide aid. It's upon them to offer what they can.
Correct,
to
if
that
they
county.
can, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does not totally obligate a county
so,
to go help if need be.
Later on the agenda, we do have this consideration of a fire ban or a fireworks ban. The impression that, so I got thinking about this interlocal agreement with this fireworks potential for fire. It concerns me with this interlocal agreement, if there are fires, say in Banner County or Box Butte or whatever, these counties that are on our interlocal agreement, in that window where fireworks are sold and being used, Scotts Bluff County might be hesitant to offer aid to a fire outside of the county merely because, we have potential for fire here during that 2-week period. So even though we have this interlocal agreement, we're not gonna be able to help you. I don't know if you've even thought about that or.
True, and I think the fire departments are that way too with their mutual aid agreement. If they can't go help, up in Sioux County because they're having weather down here in Gearing and they're scared they're here, they might not send all their forces up there. They're gonna keep people at home. And we would essentially do the same thing in those conditions if we can send anybody. This here doesn't affect the fire department's mutual aid agreement they have. This has nothing to do with them. This is pretty well, I'm gonna say it's just maybe road-based, because the superintendents drew this, kind of wanted to draw this together. But this also doesn't mean that, like, if Morrow County needed some bus rides, I think that also leaves this open, that transit could go down there and give bus rides. This is more for the aftermath than during
The actual fighting.
Right.
Yeah,
Not that we haven't went out in the hills in Banner County even before this agreement and helped.
Nobody's
cut
being
fire lights.
forced to do anything. All
That's
this
correct.
is saying, that we would like you to participate if you have the manpower or the equipment available to do it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And the fire interlocal agreements
That's a different.
separate from
Yes.
this.
Yes, yes.
Right, that's what I thought.
They have their mutual aid association that meets, I think, quarterly, and they have their own agreement in what they do.
And
so,
they're helping each other
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Is-
Anymore, it
ours
seems
would
like, yeah.
Probably be rare. I also thought I read something that, the NERMA people might be, that they were happy to get this or help with this because there's some other areas maybe in the state that we're looking to maybe try and use something similar.
Yeah, I believe we're probably the first, the Panhandle here to do an agreement like this, from what I understand with NERMA. The other counties haven't done that yet. I think they probably all believe the same thing we believed, when we had the Morrill fire, that maybe we could we'd fall under that fire department mutual aid agreement, in which we don't. So there's probably more counties or areas,
Just tightens it up.
to follow
Yeah.
suit, I think,
Follow up.
but,
Tightens it up a bit.
right,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I'm assuming we're gonna need to move to pass this new agreement superseding the old one, is that right?
That would be my recommendation would be to do
I would move for approval of the mutual aid assistance.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve this new interlocal mutual aid assistance agreement, and we understand it to replace the one we just did, so. All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, motion's carried.
That's a nice agreement you put together, guys.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next item for Steve is discuss and consider hiring for vacant positions already in budget. Steve?
So I have operator 2 positions open. A couple weeks ago, one guy quit, and the one has been open before that I didn't bring to you at the previous meeting, when I asked about the other one, so.
One's been approved, right?
One has been approved. I still have 2 open ones, so I guess I need to get, those have been budgeted for years, so.
A road grader operator, or what's the?
One's
is it-
a motor grader, one's a truck driver. The motor grader guy quit here a couple weeks ago in Minutair, so.
Any, Robert?
Yeah,
I'm
if I
assuming-
could, I'd like to provide a little bit of input. I've not talked with Steve about this, so I didn't say that up front. I didn't have time today, but I went and pulled our official budgets from the APA for the last few years, because I wanted to see what our trajectory was on our budgets in the roads department. And in the last 2 years, we've increased the road budget by over 37%. That's concerning to me, because we can't continue to grow at that pace. And if we've had these positions open for a while, I would, would possibly make the argument that if we've had them open and we're still providing the services that we're supposed to be providing, do we really need to fill those positions? So just food for thought. This is one of those departments that has grown very significantly over the last couple of years.
Well, I think a lot of the growth has been bridges that were replaced. I think we've
Capital.
built.
That would be my
Capital
argument too, is there's been a ton of bridges, ton of asphalt overlays, been done. We spend 500,000 a year now chip sealing.
Right. And when I'm
So-
talking increase, I'm talking
So-
tax asking, not all of the federal and state money that we're getting.
That's- yeah.
Tax
Right,
asking is
right.
on at 37%.
And some of that I would imagine is cyclical. You have repairs that need to be done, and, you may not have that same, repair needing to have been done next year, so it kinda
And,
ebbs and flows.
Our tax asking fluctuates from year to year.
Yeah.
So if, the road department has their own account. If we carry over $1 million one year, like we did probably 3 years ago, I believe we carried over $1 million because we didn't get a bridge done. Well, that next year's tax asking isn't gonna be as much as if we only carry over 200,000. Like last year, we only carried over, I believe it was 460,000. So our tax asking alone is more than the previous year because we carried over $1 million. So our tax asking fluctuates depending on what our carryover is from year to year.
How many truck drivers do you normally,
Each shop has 3.
shop is three?
Can you?
Each shop has 4 motor grader operators.
And now, are those same truck
Russ.
drivers, are they the long haul guys or those separate guys? Those,
Those are same guys.
same guys,
Yep,
so they'll go to.
They go to Guernsey, bring
rock.
down our chip seal rock with belly dumps or whatever, same guys.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've got 3 belly dumps we pretty much need.
Yep. We have 3 belly dumps that haul out of Guernsey, bring our rock down
So
for
you
us for
pull
chip
one
sealing.
of the drivers from each shop and you still maintain 2
Yep.
dump trucks and then run 3 belly
Right.
dumps on top.
The
of
dump
it.
trucks stay local here for graveling, hauling clay to the roads, while the belly dumps will head west. So, yep.
Based upon the number of people you've had previously, this is not adding to the number of people that you normally have.
No,
So in that regard, I'm not gonna have a problem with it. But certainly the issue that Roberts, is looking at, I think we have to, when we come to budget time here over the next month or 2 or whatever, we need to continue to remember that. I know the big issue that, we really talk about is capital improvement items. Makes all the difference in the world. And, some of those capital improvement items get paid for out of property tax.
A lot of, most all of them, and they should come out of capital.
I'm gonna say most all of them do, because when we get our highway allocation, the 3.8 million, I'm gonna tell you a majority of that highway allocation just pays for our normal day operations, fuel, labor, you know, those sort
And so
of
that-
things. It doesn't leave us a lot of, it just lets us do our maintaining. It doesn't allow us to go and do 2 miles of asphalt a year, fix, you know, $500,000 bridges, on and on, so.
And I think we all know that Mr. Reisig has been a major advocate for you in getting some of these capital improvement projects done, and that's driven that,
We've cleaned
those
up a lot
numbers
of
up
them.
some.
We've cleaned up the majority of them.
And, but I hope that as we look at that for this coming budget year, that, that we can, help level that out a
that
little
in,
more.
yeah.
But I don't know, in my opinion, that it'll come at the cost of people, in my opinion. So, to that
If you'll-
extent, I'm okay with it.
If fuel prices would come down, the amount of fuel that gets burned on a daily basis, if the fuel would just come down, there'd be, money could go a lot further than it has. So
Right, that's
we
true.
can't just take numbers and say we're gonna build off of this,
Well,
cause
the
the numbers,
fuel-
a lot of numbers.
fuel-
The fuel increases has only been a few months. I mean, the big increases. I mean,
It's been
really
a-
have. I mean, we've only, I mean, if you look at our
We
fuel.
haven't had the
If you look at our fuel
fuel
budget,
increase,
this
so-
year, we've only spent half of our fuel budget.
Right. When
Okay,
we
so-
bid out fuel in January, when you remember, everybody wanted to keep buying off the rail because they believed it was gonna go down. After I did the bids for that, I reached out to the vendors and told them, you know, that, commissioners wish to wait till, till, see what happens with it in a few months. My one vendor that we've been buying from said he would just, you know, cover last year's contract with us, and if the rail price was cheaper, he would sell to us for the rail price. So right now, we're paying $2.59 a gallon for diesel.
So we're,
So-
you've got a good,
Be a
con-
good
good.
deal.
Yeah, I gotta go mow his yard once in a while.
That's
But,
fine.
so we're getting a good deal. So hopefully by December,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
over and it goes back down, cause I don't know what'll happen after
Yeah.
that. So we were pretty lucky in that
Yeah.
stuff.
And we were lucky from a
That's good.
budgeting standpoint, like I said, year to date, we've only spent about 50% of the
Yeah,
budget
right now,
for fuel.
my budget fuel's only about 50%, so, but we didn't have a winter either. You take one good winter and get those graders burning diesel, it goes pretty fast. So,
Well, I'm okay with trying to maintain the level of people that we've had, as long as this is an extra.
no,
Above
it's
and
not
beyond
extra.
our normal.
No,
Is that
it's
your
not
motion?
extra.
Yeah, so my motion would be to allow for the, both positions. We've already kind of approved one, but
One is
we'll
approved.
call them both positions. That's already in the budget.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, motion's
thank
carried.
you.
All right, I think that covers the road and bridge items. we're gonna go ahead and, go to the general agenda items. The first item is discuss and consider approval of the public transit advertising for the vacant bus operation supervisor position due to retirement. Kurt?
Okay, last week, my current bus operation supervisor, just decided to hang it up. He's in his early 70s, and he's been with us about 8 years. This is a position that takes care of coordinating all the required maintenance on vehicles, facilities. We have what's called a transit asset management plan we have to follow for the FTA, and it's everything from regularly scheduled oil changes to fluid changes to safety equipment on the buses to making sure the fire extinguishers at the bus barn are charged. It's the whole gamut of all of our assets and taking care of it. And he's going to retire, so I'm just asking permission to advertise to replace him, and with the caveat that if I hire internally from a driver that's been on staff, instead of advertising for the bus op supervisor, I could advertise for a driver position, probably part-time at this point. Brian's been here long enough that if I transition a current driver into this position, they would see a slight increase in their pay, but it would be at a lower rate than Brian's is after having been here so long. And then the driver would be at our starting wage for a driver.
It's still included in the budget that
It
we
is,
approved,
yes.
yeah.
It's just, I'm just replacing him.
Yeah.
And just wanted to make sure I get approval before I throw it out there for an advertisement.
I would move for
Just a
approval.
minute, just a minute.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, go ahead, you can
Well,
move.
go
We
ahead
haven't,
with the
we haven't
motion.
voted yet.
I
You can
would
move.
move that
Right.
we approve it.
Okay,
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, go ahead, Russ, with your
I
discussion.
think Robert had a,
I do wanna mention something.
I do as well.
So we've been talking about the significant decrease in federal and state funding for the Tri-City Roadrunner. Unless something changes significantly, and Kurt and I have spent a lot of time on this, we can look at it from a revenue perspective, which there may be opportunities for federal, state, local, revenue items, but those are probably long shots, and in all honesty. And then there is reduction of expenses. When we talked about a week ago, Kurt was about $150,000 short of where he needs to be for his budget.
This
for
year?
July, well, this year we're good. I think we're good for this year. But for the budget for
62% of
26,
budget.
27, which starts in 30 days, we have a deficit of $150,000. So my concern is that we're gonna see Tri-City Roadrunners shrink in the next 3 to 9 months, and we're gonna hire somebody just to terminate them. I don't think that's the right thing to do, with employees, when we know there's a problem, there's a revenue problem that we can't continue at the pace that we're at. So I just wanna throw that out there from an accounting perspective.
one of the things we talked about when we first put the hiring freeze in was that we didn't wanna hire at the end of the year, and then, just because there's money in the budget, and there's no money in next year's budget. If there's no money in next year's budget, I'm not excited about it.
What am I
I'm
at,
talking-
70% of my budget this year? And we're
What's that?
almost done, and I've spent 70% of my budget.
Yes, but you
You guys
gotta
know
care-
I'm very, very
Right.
hawkish on my budget, always have been.
You have been,
Right.
but you can't
But your
control what's
revenue got
coming in.
cut significantly too. I
You
mean,
can't control what the feds and the
Well,
state are doing.
and
That's just-
if I don't do my maintenance, then we just lose, 24 people lose their jobs.
Pardon?
If we don't maintain our requirements, then 24 people lose their jobs.
Well, I think there's a way to get it done, Kurt. You're talking like, this can't be a full 8-hour-a-day job.
It is, cause he
I mean,
cleans.
what do you got, 17 units?
20 vehicles.
20 vehicles, they don't all get service. I mean, some of those sit for a long time. A lot of these are old vehicles that are out of service.
I'm not gonna disagree with you there,
Okay.
they're backups.
That's, okay, so you're not gonna have every one of them serviced every 30 days. My vehicle runs a lot too, and it don't get serviced every 30 days.
Every 5,000 miles, oil change, rotation, fluid changes. We probably average 10 flat tires a month
So does this
or
fella
more.
take the vehicles in and have it done himself, or does a bus driver take it in?
No, he does a lot of smaller things in-house. We change air filters in-house, cabin filters. If there's trim pieces coming loose, he goes through them and tightens screws. We are working on I actually forwarded to Jason, an MOU with our primary maintenance vendor. We've got to get the insurance part of it worked out. where they'll do a loaner vehicle for us to go back and forth to the bus barn, to their facility, so we're not having to haul someone back
So
and
who
forth.
do you take those to?
Mostly it's Panhandle Diesel and Auto. They've got the equipment big enough for those cutaway buses.
Right.
They're working on a new fleet pricing program for me. I'm waiting to hear back from Jeremy and Alex on that. I'm still waiting to hear back on
So-
increased revenue from, Medicaid, and then, have a meeting with NDOT again here next week, once we get our new software training that the state's switching to. If you're not familiar with the, Rural Health Transformation Program, DHHS has $1 billion to spend in the next 5 years to help with rural transit health access. And we're a key part of that access, and that's, if the state doesn't want to take the lead on it, I'm taking the lead on it as our state association board president to go to DHHS and say, hey, we need your help, we're helping you, you need to help us. That's your goal, is to get people to their healthcare appointments, so you have positive health outcomes. Again, Robert said, right now it's unknown. My current plan is to maintain what we're currently doing for at least the first quarter. And by that first quarter, that's 3 months to go chase down some money. We're still waiting on letters of commitment from the hospital, Walmart, Scotts Bluff. I'm going to the Minutair City Council meeting next week. And then I'm still waiting to hear back from Mitchell and Moore to try and get a little assistance from them as well. This is, I'm willing to maybe take and bring somebody in part-time that's a driver and see if I want to find somebody that's a good fit.
Can you train somebody within, and let's see what our budget's gonna come out next year, cause we need to hold the line here. You can carry some of this money into next year. Can you do that and do some training with this person? And surely you can drive those vehicles over and drop them off. Are you certified to do that?
Oh, yeah, everybody is.
Well, there you are. Well, can't you take these vehicles in, and I mean, basically, you're just wanting to transport vehicles, you got a few air filters to do. To put a person in there, and we're short $150,000 for next year, I don't see,
I think you already explained that they do more than just take the vehicle in to get the oil changed.
He did. He said they change a few filters.
It concerns me that we just allowed the roads department to hire 2 more people. And now we're questioning Kurt, who by far, not saying he's better than anybody else, but I wouldn't be concerned if Kurt comes to us with a request that he hasn't looked at it and ran it through whatever needs to happen to make sure that the money is there and that we're not spending anything that we don't have. And I don't disagree the fact that we may be losing some, whatever, but I think we deal with that when it happens. And as far as hiring somebody to fire him, there may be somebody who is willing to go part-time, maybe somebody's ready to retire, or whatever the case might be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he can bring somebody in.
I just have a real problem with handing it over here, and then we're gonna scrutinize something here that he truly needs. If this gentleman is doing, or lady, I guess I don't know who it is, if this individual is doing all the things that you said they're doing, it's more than just driving a bus to a dealer to have the oil changed. They're doing maintenance, they're doing a lot of different things
Record keeping.
within that operation. And that's, my motion still stands. I'll just-
Well, what we still have the funding to hire that person. The funding is there for it. It's been appropriated. It's there. They're gonna be 150, what, 140, 150,000?
Right now,
shortfall?
around $150,000, that if he doesn't find additional revenue or cut expenses, that he's gonna have to ask for a tax, ask 150 higher than last year.
Or cut.
Or,
Or
yeah,
cut.
You're
Well,
talking
that's the-
about next fiscal year.
in 30 days.
And that starts in
starting
30 days from today.
But we haven't, just with the, roads and bridges, I mean, we authorized that because it was within his budget.
Within the budget for
And
next year,
I
but his
think- I
budget
think,
next year as well.
Kurt's ask is also within his budget,
This year,
I think.
It is. I think the biggest difference here is the fact that we know your federal funding and state could be cut substantially. We didn't have that same issue with Road and Bridge. It was different. But we've been dealing with this issue for virtually 8 months to a year. Now, I'll give you my opinion, and I think it would satisfy some of the things. My opinion would be, is that, with the number of units you have, I'm gonna call it a fleet, I don't have a great, my suspicion is you still need to have a person that would be that person. You gotta have somebody doing those things, right? And so, whether you end up, like you said, moving a driver into that position, or, whatever it is, the issue's gonna be, you've certainly heard from me, and you've heard from some of the others that, the tax asking money from me, that we're not going to be substantially increasing that.
You haven't in
And I know,
5 years.
I know we haven't.
It's $200,000
But
for
I wanna
5
be sure we
years.
understand that for next year. Because, I've said it for many years, that again, it's not my, goal to have 30, 40 buses for Scotts Bluff County. I don't think that that's necessary. And to keep growing it, we've allowed it to grow because it's primarily federal and state money. And we've allowed it to continue to increase. But, knowing what we know right now from the federal government and state, unless you find some other, ways of financing that, certainly from my perspective, when we get to budget time for next fiscal year, you know what my position is gonna be. I don't think there's any doubt about it, and that's going to mean that it may, in my opinion, it may not cut this position so much as what it might cut drivers and some things like that, but that's my personal opinion. But whatever it's gonna take to get down to
Whatever you-
where we don't spend the money that
Whatever
we
you
don't
gentlemen,
have.
whatever you gentlemen decide, that's
Right.
what I'll do.
Right.
I'll figure it out. I always have.
Right.
And you do a good job at that. When we ask you to do it, you've always done a good job. Talking to Rich Flores from Kimball County, their system is about 4 times bigger than ours, and their tax ask is 50,000 to the taxpayer in Kimball County.
She gets $250,000 a year
50.
from Clean Harbors.
Huh?
She gets
Well,
$250,000
of course.
a year from Clean Harbors.
And they're hauling from here down. Why don't you take that job? We're hauling from right here down.
My operating rules set by the board years ago is Scotts
He-
Bluff County.
They've got people sleeping here at night so they can load them out. We'd be better off we loaded them here and took them, and our guys could sleep in their own beds. You know, they have to send people down.
We're
here to
working on MOU on that as well, to share some space with them. Jason has those to review as well. We're trying to work together, and we've even talked to, down the road, we work at the pace of government, but, potentially looking at a regional transit
I think that's great.
agency. But
Bringing-
we have to get buy-in from the state before that'll happen, and it is in the discussions.
Well, something we need to look at when we discuss filling positions is we can't just lump positions. We have to look at what that job is, how critical that job is. You can't compare, say, somebody working the county clerk's office, you can't compare them to, say, a dispatcher, you can't compare them to, say, a sheriff's deputy. Those jobs are all unique with their own requirements, and unfortunately, in our county, we do have some positions that are what I call critical for public safety. And there's times that, we may fill a deputy's position because we really need to, but in some departments, there may be say a clerk's position or some type of administrative position that we may not look at as being quite so critical. And with this farm economy the way it is, it's not gonna be good, and it's not gonna be good for a number of years in the future. And so we're gonna have to look at our tax spending. And I truly believe that we're gonna have to look at each department, each position when they come up to be filled on its own merits. And I would love to be able to say, yes, we'll fill every position that's open, but That's not practical. And right now, it's really a bad policy. We need to look at each position in its own unique way, its only unique requirement within the county. And so, we can't, like say, compare department to departments. And so, that's just my thoughts on it. You know, there are certain jobs that are truly critical for public safety. There's others are not so critical. I'm not saying that each job is not important. It's just that by nature of what they do in that position affects the lives of a lot of people. And so we have to be very good stewards of our funding when we elect to either not fill these positions or to fill these positions. We need to really look hard and deep as to what does that person do, how does it affect the county, how does it affect our budget, how does it affect the taxpayers. So,
Kurt, can you train within and hold somebody for 30 to 90 days until we see what the other funding's gonna do? Cause we're just shooting from the hip. We don't know what your funding's truly gonna be here for another month or two.
I can, put out a memo within to my drivers and see if anybody would like to come in and talk and maybe job shadow for a few days. And see if we can do. Right now, I don't have a lot of extra.
I don't have a
drivers
problem with
either,
what
so.
Ken's wanting to do if we have the funding. And right now, we're not guaranteed that funding, and we're already 4 times what Kimball taxpayers are paying for a unit 4 times bigger than that. So that's like 8 times what the pay is.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but he's also tells us, and I know that, hazardous waste people are subsidizing their system.
Sure they are. Sure
And
they are.
so, it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison.
And the other thing that,
That's because they went out.
part of the MOU we're working on is because they closed the dialysis center in Shadron, and we're trying to work together to help those folks get to dialysis. So that's one of the reasons for the MOU Jason's looking at is to base vehicles out of here to get those people to and from Shadron for dialysis.
And
But anyway,
let me just say, we
decide
have
what
2
you
other
need
people
and
that
I'll
wanna
go.
speak, and I wanna be sure to be able to hear them. But, anything else, Steve, that you have at this point? We'll give you another opportunity if we need to.
nope. You take
All
your
right.
vote and.
Kurt?
Yeah, Kurt, sorry.
Thanks for.
Did I call you Steve?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, wow.
Talon Cordle, Talon-Cordle. Question on the maintenance. Don't we have a county maintenance shop? We don't have a county maintenance shop for anything that we can do oil change or anything like that for those buses? So we take all of our county equipment to a shop somewhere?
Steve has mechanics at his shop, but they're heavy equipment people. I think that's what he's getting ready to tell you where he's at with
Okay.
that. So.
That's my question, cause I was gonna say we could take these buses into our county and stop paying a third
Well,
party.
we don't have like vehicles for everybody. I think at one time you guys used to have vehicles for different ones, and you probably had a fleet. I don't think they have that anymore.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Steve?
So as you guys know, we do have a mechanic, and I don't know if it would help if it's just light maintenance, maybe for the 30 days. If he had service or something, we could maybe run him in and out of there. If it worked out, if it wasn't a headache for 30 days to see where the budget is, but, just an idea. I don't know what his needs are, what he wants or not, but,
So you
I'll throw
you
it
could
out
be
there.
helpful for a short period of time, is
yeah,
what you're
to
saying.
see what his budget does. Well, we have 2 mechanics in there, very good, that, can do services surely, so, they do our stuff, so. If need be,
Okay.
throw that out there.
Thank you.
So at this point in time, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the request that Kurt's asking for. And I think I've explained my position. I'm not quite so concerned about this one position. I think that, I could live with that if Kurt could find a way to stretch that out at least into the next budget year.
That's where I'm at.
Where maybe he doesn't have to, but my bigger issue is gonna be the big budget into the next fiscal year, cause that's where I'm concerned where we're headed with that. Any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve this position. So without any other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses and 1 no, the nay being blue.
Okay? So the motion's carried, and I think you've heard our story, so. All right, the next item is to discuss and consider an option for ACH medical contract for 2026-2027, previously approved on May 18th, 2026.
Where's that at?
Oh, I don't know, I think I'm,
Sheriff?
We don't,
Sheriff, are you gonna cover that?
we don't have it in our.
We have,
She had a
this is the new one.
Yes.
Do you have a copy?
Someone has the ACH.
Gotcha.
Oh, let me, yeah, do
I
let me see it.
pulled the one out of the packet. That's what I was using.
Was a
I
good
know where
idea,
to throw it.
thank you. Okay. Gentlemen, I was before you last meeting talking about this topic and, how much they, Advanced Correctional Healthcare, wants a new contract and they have given us this and we're gonna recommend that you approve it and option that our current contract is $643,382. They've given us option 1, $662. 683, option 2 is 678, 742. I'm gonna recommend option 2. I can tell you and remind you that a year or 2 ago, we went out for RFPs and we didn't get any takers.
There you go.
And I can tell you that ACH is, they're in a lot of different jails that we're familiar with and we've been happy with them. We weren't happy when they changed it up a bunch and said that they would only proceed with registered nurses. They did this to us a couple of years ago. Registered nurses are not required in Nebraska, but we couldn't find anybody else to bid this.
Does that mean you found it?
So, the reason we're recommending the higher of the 2 options, and it's higher, we're talking about spending $660,000 here. And so, the higher of the options goes from 662 to 678. So, another $15,000 or $16,000. The reason that we're suggesting the higher option is because it comes with more hours for the physician, which we think will cut down on some overtime because, I mean, we've got a contract, but there's some things that are built into this contract, like we have to pay some overtime. And we are very pleased with the physician that we have right now. She does a really good job, but there are a lot of times we have some very ill people in our facility, and that having that physician there saves us from having to take them to the hospital. Because the hospital, not one dime of this is ever gonna get paid to the hospital. So if we don't have that physician, we're gonna have to take some people to the hospital, so that's our recommendation, is that you sign off on this. There's not another game in town. When we tried RFPs, we just didn't get any. I can tell you that I've talked to a jail that's not that much bigger than ours, is paying 3 to 4 times what we're paying. It's just expensive to have this health care for inmates. So,
Sheriff, what's option 1 and option 2, what's the difference?
the difference is the number of hours that they allow for a physician to be in our facility every week.
And how many hours difference is that?
Maybe 4.
How many, Mark?
Maybe 4. The physician comes to our facility once a week for 4 hours. This will give the physician more time in our facility.
And so,
4 hours a month, you're saying, Mark?
No, a week.
4 hours, oh, that's great.
so this talks about, we approved that contract earlier, and is that what is the current contract?
this is what you approved last week, but what we did not do 2 weeks ago, what we did not do was approve one or the other of the options.
Okay.
You approved the contract.
The 643.
Well,
Or was that
no,
what was
that's the current
previous?
contract. We're
The previous
effective,
contract.
effective July first,
Okay.
this goes up. Okay, so we're asking you, and so, what we're under right now, 643,000.
Okay. And what did we approve then?
You approved the new contract, but what we didn't do was approved option one or option two.
What is that gonna put us to dollars and cents if approving either or?
About 27,000 more.
Oh, that would do.
Approve one or the other. Option one or option two.
Roughly $12,000.
So that's really the choice that we have.
Well, I'm gonna speak in support of the sheriff because, we're gaining, 2 hours more a week for that
We're
physician to
gaining,
be
we're
there.
gaining more time from
And-
the physician
And
in
I
our
guar-
facility.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you that will save us a lot of money because a lot of issues that happen in that facility, if we have a physician there or available on call, which they are on call 24/7.
Yeah, we have physicians on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And if we call them, they answer the phone.
And-
It might be this physician, and if she is not available, it will be another one, but they answer the phone.
That will eliminate a lot of transports to the hospital. And, I think looks like about $27,000 more than option one. I think we would definitely get our money back and then some.
Yeah, it's about 16,000 more.
12,000.
Difference between 662.
Okay, yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
teach you.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation, Mark?
Option two. That's my recommendation.
Well, I
Because
move
I
that
think we'll
we,
save money in the long run.
I move that we approve, option two in the, HCHC, healthcare contract.
So just so,
Go ahead.
do we have a second?
So,
No,
and
you're open
so
for
let me just,
discussion.
and so we're clarifying that as the $678,742 option.
Correct.
So, again, I don't know if I, followed this, so that between option one and two, the amount of time that a physician spends at the facility would increase?
Would increase.
How much per week?
I think it's about 4 hours a week.
Okay, and right now, or regardless, if we went with option one, we still would require
still
a
have the-
physician to be on
Still
call.
have the physician in the
like,
facility,
and they're still on call
And they're still on
24,
call.
yeah.
you know? But
So-
here's, Commissioner, what we're seeing from this is not enough time. She doesn't have enough time to see everybody she needs to see.
And when they don't have
And-
time,
and when
then
she-
it,
And then, well, and here's the other thing. Every time she sees somebody, she has to chart that. And we're paying for her time, for everything that she does. And if she doesn't have time to chart things, then somebody is gonna have to chart that. And and then when they don't have enough time to do things, then they're gonna bill us overtime. And we don't wanna get billed overtime. And so we think that this is the best idea to control costs for the county.
Okay, can I ask one more
Yes.
time and make sure I understand? What were we paying 2 months ago? What was that amount? And
It was-
it's an annual amount.
Under
The
what you
current
have in front of you, current contract.
643.
Current contract,
Okay,
that's what we're paying now.
all right. And then when we talked about it 2 weeks ago, what
Exactly.
did we approve?
You approved the new contract, but we didn't approve
continue.
There
either
was no
option
increase
one
in
or
that.
option two.
All right.
We just
We
missed
just,
that.
in principle,
In principle, you approved
we
the new
approved it.
contract.
Okay. All
Cause
right.
we never
At
had a
the-
discussion about option one or option two.
All right, so we didn't get, our rate was the same as before, and now is when we're actually talking about the increase.
Now we're actually talking about the money.
Right, okay, I'm okay
Last
with
year,
that.
we were talking about the percentage rate increase,
Right,
which is around 4%,
okay,
which is compared to healthcare costs,
Decent.
and compared to what option do we have? I mean, we went out for bids. Yeah, I think we got one other bid and it was
Way
it was massively more than this.
Just the fact that inmate does not have to go to the hospital, it's going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah, not that, you know, a lot of times we're not paying for hospital trips because there's other options available. Cause the first option is they have to pay for it. The inmate has to pay for it.
Right.
And if it's a detainee that's not ours, if it's a Fed, we're not paying for it. If it's another county, we're not paying for it. We have to pay for those that are in our county that qualify. And then when they qualify, the hospital will send us a bill and we get to pay the Medicaid rate, which is not what they bill us. So typically we'll get a bill that's much larger than what we actually pay. But there's always some back and forth with that.
If a detainee has his own health insurance, the hospital will bill that health insurance.
That's correct.
But a lot of them don't, unfortunately.
A lot of them don't.
Okay, so do we have a motion on the floor, right?
Correct.
And a second?
No.
Don't.
I'll second it.
All right, so the motion is option 2, $678,742. We have a second to that motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Thanks for
Thank you,
covering that
gentlemen.
for us.
Sheriff?
All right.
That's fine.
All right, so let me just tell you that I do plan to, talk about this next item, and then when we flip over to the back, we're gonna take a break before we start on the back page.
Mark, your choice, please. Thank you.
Okay, so the next item is discuss and consider special claim run for utilities and travel. Ms. Kelly?
I get the feeling never mind, because we're having an extra meeting.
So, yeah, that's kinda what I thought, was that you're needing it for these purposes.
No,
And-
it's what we've done in the past.
I know it.
No.
You don't need it?
I was throwing it out there because that's what you said.
I see.
It's what we've done in the past,
What
is
we've done in
why
the
I put it
past.
on there.
Alright, so, alright, so I think we'll end up talking about this a little bit when we get to, the item where it says adding an additional regular board meeting, June 29th.
3 more.
So it'll be part of that discussion as well. Alright, so then, the way I see it, that there's no action needed on this specific item. You agree with that then, Kelly?
Yes.
Alright. So, based upon that, we're flipping over to the, second page. But before we start there, we're gonna take an 8-minute break. So we're talking 5:47. We'll be back.
Googled the average time that it takes to walk out of the room. I go to the
We're gonna talk about it here.
They'll take the recommendation into consideration. That doesn't necessarily mean they're
Cause we can do it all at the same time.
Director, Safety Committee.
Ready?
And it doesn't matter, cause it's not gonna affect that.
Are you ready then, Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, it is 5:47. The meeting will come back to order. The next item is at the top of the back page. Discuss and consider designating NACO, Nebraska Association of County Officials, to facilitate the printing and mailing of the JPH,
Joint public hearing.
Joint Public Hearing, you hear us call it the pink postcards, through the state print shop in September with an estimated cost per postcard of 62 cents. Kelly?
I said it all in the agenda item.
Okay. So
I think Robert and I agree that it would be wise to use.
100%. And
Okay.
This is the cheapest route. I mean, they print it for us. I send them the file. They print it. They mail it out, and we can't do it that cheap.
right. We've used them before the last few years. I think, like you said,
All of them.
yeah, we can't do it that cheap. And then, do these expenses then get reimbursed by those entities that required the pink
It-
postcards to be sent
A
out?
portion if we are not alone on it.
Okay,
Every political subdivision that would be a part of the joint public hearing postcard, the pink postcards would
They
pay
were
their
Partially
portion.
reimbursed.
right. So technically,
And NACO helps us, calculate that part too.
okay. So technically, the expense ultimately, would be hopefully paid by some of the other entities.
Upfront on us, but then reimbursable a certain portion, just like our elections.
Right, and
Yeah.
if we're careful with our budget, we wouldn't have to pay any of it possibly ourselves.
That would be
So-
ideal.
Yeah. So,
wishful
anyway,
thinking,
yeah. So anyway, that's, what Kelly is, proposing, and, we need to take action on this evening, I believe.
I move that we allow NACO to facilitate the printing and mailing of the joint public hearing postcards.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for NACO to print and mail the postcards. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. We'll go to the next item. Discuss and consider authorizing Robert Simpson to close 2 Platte Valley bank accounts held outside the Treasury. The first one is the Scotts Bluff Clearinghouse Dental Reimbursement Fund. It has an approximate balance of $246,000. And the second one is the Scotts Bluff Warehouse Medical Reimbursement, and it has an approximate balance of $42,000. These funds will be, if approved, these funds would be deposited into the self-funded insurance account, which is managed by the treasurer. Robert?
Yes, sir. So, I started looking at very closely when I started in this position at any funds that were held outside the Treasury, and identified several of them, probably 14 or 15 of them, and also talked with the state and the APA. There are very specific items that we can have funds outside the Treasury, like certain accounts in the clerk's office, in the Register of Deeds office, in the clerk of the district court. Having accounts like this is not in compliance. We've just been lucky. We've never been audited on those particular accounts. So one, we're out of compliance by having those accounts, okay? Two, we've been running, over $250,000 in balances in those accounts for, I would say, over a decade on 0 interest-bearing account. Not a smart financial move. And then two, by it being outside the Treasury, there's less oversight. Really, I'm the one who balances accounts. There's some work involved in it, in the fact that you have to request a check, it has to get approved by the board, a check gets cut, I have to take it, I have to go deposit it, have to get money in there for it to be swept out. And we're gonna remove all of that, and I'm just gonna cut checks to the insurance provider right out of the 1257 fund and eliminate all that, eliminate all the reconciliation of those 2 bank accounts. And we're gonna have that money in interest-bearing accounts. It's a no-lose situation.
This is, certainly part of our health insurance funding.
That's right.
And, so you're just gonna get it into that more, what I'll call general fund of the health insurance fund.
Right.
And Robert, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, we authorized, I don't even remember the name of the group, but we authorized the county treasurer to invest, some of that money that's in the, general account.
Right, that is, Cash Vest, that's the
Yeah.
name of the product.
And so,
Yeah.
transferring this money into that account does give Heather the opportunity to invest, at least make something off of that.
That's right. Based on our cash needs, she's looking at how many dollars can be invested for 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, or just cash that we need on hand. And obviously that will go into that pool that she will be able to invest. Our goal is, by using that system, is to be able to invest her cash for longer periods of time, so we know when, we generally should know when our needs are, because we have a record of, when expenses come up. So she has the ability to move those between different terms of investments.
She was
Yeah.
not able to be here tonight, but I think she, is in favor of what you are proposing tonight, I assume.
Yeah. And I spoke with her about this, we talked about it, we talked about, well, should it go to the general fund or should it go to self-funded? And the fact that it got moved over to these clearing accounts to be used for, self-funded medical and dental, it should stay in that account, so we both agreed it should stay in that 1257 fund account.
Well, I move that we authorize Robert Simpson to close the two Platte Valley bank accounts held outside the Treasury, to include the Scotts Bluff Clearinghouse dental reimbursement and the Scotts Bluff Warehouse medical reimbursement for the amounts of $246,000 and $42,000.
I'll second that.
And those are approximate, right?
That's right. We have, we'll go through another
Just
month
close the
end,
accounts.
and we'll make sure that whatever the balance is, they'll cut a check to the county
For the
treasurer.
entire amount.
Yep.
Right, good. All right, so we had a motion and a second, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. We'll go to the next item, which is discuss and consider adding an additional regular Board of Commissioner meeting on June 29th, 2026. We happen to have a 5th Monday in this month, but more importantly, we're coming to the end of the fiscal year at the end of June, and it seems to me that we have always had a additional board meeting right at the end of the fiscal year for several reasons. But Robert, do you want to discuss what your thoughts were here?
Yes, so, there's, as everyone knows, there's lots of things that go on in June as far as resolutions that need to get passed, all of our expenses paid. This gives us an opportunity, specifically on the expense side, if we have a regular claims run, and I know Kelly's not in favor of this, but I know she's saying travel and utilities. I'm in favor of doing a full run, because if we have money in our budget and we have bills that we received the last 5-6 days of the month, we need to get them paid out of this year's budget. I think
A full-blown claims run?
that's what I'm recommending. I know you don't like that, and I said that.
Well, that we've never done.
Never say never.
Depends on what we're talking about, doesn't it?
So clearly, Kelly and I disagree on this, but I would recommend that.
You're not,
full run.
you're not.
I'm
doing
just trying to
payroll.
figure out closing out the year between Charlotte and Bry too. I was not made aware of this at all.
The, well, the most important thing is gonna be the, anything that's sensitive to be paid out of this fiscal year.
That's right.
That's
I'm
the
just saying, that gives it a
primary
last
things.
opportunity. If it's something that's not utilities or travel, let's get it in and get it paid out of this year's budget and not have it carry over. But again, it's board, whatever the board wants to do. And we do have, and the other reason I wanted to
How
have a
much-
third meeting was resolutions and things that need to be made at the last moment to fund. We have a couple of departments that are over on their budget.
Discuss protests. How much more could accumulate in 9 days?
Protests, a lot of things.
What's that?
How much more could accumulate in 9 days, Kelly? I'm asking Kelly. How much more could accumulate? Couldn't be a whole lot, could it? talking 9 days of the final day, so it cleans up everything.
Well, like you said, I mean, we've got extra time in the month. We did get our utilities already by now. So that is just something, like I said, copy paste, typical, what we do. A lot of workshops are this month for reimbursement of that. We do the transfer of funds for the departments that have gone over budget, which every year it's county court because
Goes overboard.
they have to.
Their point, I mean, yeah.
And then various others occasionally. But I feel like we know what those are gonna be. I don't understand the need for an extra meeting, but
I mean, it
like
could
we
be a
say,
real,
What,
you make the decision.
why was Lisa always asking for it?
Well,
She was asking
she
for it under
wasn't
the health
always.
insurance things.
Hang on, I'll get you the wording here real fast. We do a resolution, like I said, for the transfer of funds to the departments that are shy. And
If we do that on the 29th versus the 15th, you know, it's gonna be a lot more accurate. I'm not gonna
Right.
be asking for cushion money to
Right.
be approved because I'm guessing, you know.
And that's, I think, why Lisa was doing it was, she was always asking for right at the end for, well, in the health insurance part of things, she was trying to clear up as many of the claims that actually occurred in this fiscal year and try and get them cleared up as far as writing the checks in
Right.
that fiscal year rather than the next.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, but
And
she
and
was the one that, always asked for this late meeting.
Right.
And I thought Kelly was, maybe part of that as well, but it sounds like it was primarily Lisa, and if I remember her intentions normally had to do with the health insurance things.
Yeah.
But,
So-
oh no, and it was those budgets that were going over budget.
Right, we'll do a resolution and
Right,
it'd be
it was
more
those
accurate
two.
if we do it on the
we
29th
just came in, it
versus
was
the
only a
15th.
really short meeting when we generally did that, right?
Right.
Right.
that sounds a lot like dumping a budget too, to me.
What do you mean? Dumping
Let's
a budget?
use an extra
No, if we have bill,
meeting
if we have
because
bills
we have
that
the
are,
money and let's spend it.
No,
No.
we're not doing that.
no, I'm saying that if we have regular bills that are here, that come in those last 9 days a month, we should be paying our bills timely. I mean, talking about Mr. Harris was talking about our self-funded insurance. When I took this position, we were $500,000 behind in paying on that. And as of now, we are current. I pay it down to 0 every month. So, I think we have a responsibility to pay our bills timely. And this is just another tool to do that.
Well, to me, that, health insurance thing is, kind of a simple and no-brainer. The resolutions to get the budgets, equalized, or at least so we're, have allotted extra money, so to speak, if we're in agreement with those. The issue of whether or not it's, a few of the bills because we want to get them into the current fiscal year versus a complete, full-blown, running of every bill. That I'm a little more confused on. But, as to the, what we've done in the past versus what we're asking for now.
Is it a lot different, you think?
I don't know, that's what I'm not
Didn't we
aware
always
of.
pay off our bills at the end of the year and our fiscal years, didn't we always clean up everything that came in?
Well, obviously, maybe the stuff that came in, obviously, we're gonna have bills from the previous fiscal year that don't get to us until until July 1, we're gonna have, no
But
matter what,
the-
you're gonna have some of those bills.
The more that we can match our revenues with our expenses, the better off we are. If we carry stuff over, it just, it's not impossible or overly difficult, but it just is something else that we have to account for when we have rollover like that. So, that's another reason why I want to do it, just get everything paid and cleaned up by the end of the year. that
As
we
many
have.
as possible.
Yeah.
And there may be, again, there may be other issues between now and then that could go onto that agenda to discuss.
That's right.
Might be, that'd be a good idea.
Right. And somebody else mentioned something, we'll at least talk about kind of where we're at with the protest.
Yeah.
How many we have and what dates that you're looking at and that type of thing, probably by that point in time.
Well, actually, by that point in time, we've already had some protests,
Yeah,
several.
yeah, should have by then, yeah.
And if you've done your job, maybe we'll be done.
We can only hope that I did my job.
Just a thought, just a thought, Robert.
Where do you wanna go with this one, Mark?
I would move for the meeting on the 29th.
I'll second that, Ken.
All right, any other discussion?
That wasn't all of the questioner, was it?
I was gonna say, I don't feel like that answers everything we're
And-
talking
and
about
have a
at
full
all.
Claims run. Yeah.
And have a full claims run is what he's asking for.
You'll set
On
the
that.
agenda on what needs to be done, is that correct, Robert, for this meeting,
For the
on the
29th.
29th?
Well, it would be a regular meeting, the clerk would probably do the agenda
Okay.
and everything.
Whatever has to come up,
Yeah.
okay.
We would all provide the information to her by the, noon on the Thursday before.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure that it answers Kelly's question.
I don't think it did either.
The,
Her question, I think, is what was on the agenda on the first page, right? I mean, that's,
well,
no,
well, it's part of that. The real question is, are we gonna be paying, in my opinion, give me some numbers, but are we gonna be paying 10 or 15 claims versus 50 claims?
And it's
That's-
not 50 claims when I get a full claims run in my office.
Right, and so how many is it?
It's
That's what I'm asking.
250 claims.
250, so that's the question.
368 claims that come out to 200 checks.
Well, that again.
Okay. Is that what you were looking
With
for?
those kind of numbers, these people understand the difference between
Yeah.
a few versus a full claims run.
Yeah.
And
What
I
are we
didn't
gonna
even
pay?
know exactly how
Travel
many.
for the people that had to travel in June.
Yeah. I think
Insurance for what we always clean up.
We were trying to get the travel stuff for, I suspect for two reasons, I don't really know. One is it gets them their money in that fiscal year, but I
For
don't
when
know
they
that that's
traveled.
important for those people. But it helps us get that for the budgets, in my opinion.
I don't know.
But, so the
in your mind, it's not necessary.
I don't know how you figured that out.
To Kelly's point, there is more work for her office and my office. They prepare the claims, submit them, I review all of them and sign off on all of them. So there is some more work.
Right, and there's more
But
work
it's-
for the department heads because they've gotta get them done. They've gotta get them done quicker, and I guess, if that's really the intent.
No, they get a whole extra one is what he's putting before you.
What's that?
It's, they
Instead
don't
of-
have to make their deadline by June 15th.
They can
get
push 'em
two
off.
more weeks,
They can push them off.
and then we get to turn around and have another meeting a week from there.
It's the difference between 24 and 25 events, right, during the course of the year.
Now say that again, I don't
There are
understand.
two claims runs a month
Oh, yeah,
usually.
yeah.
And it's the difference between 24 and 25.
Yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
But you're only gonna have 9 days between the next, that
right.
one.
And
20th
she's
and
just
20th.
saying that if some of the department heads understand that they're gonna have an opportunity to push it back to the 29th, they may not run them through on the 15th
And pile them on.
and pile them up on the 29th is
I
what
guess
she's
I can see
saying.
that.
Right.
We can ask them
Well,
politely to
let's
not do
approve it
that.
next month then.
We can ask them politely to not do that.
I'll go over and I won't have that.
Well, I don't. We're still gonna be at the mercy of the department heads submitting the bills. Cause if they don't run them through, you're not gonna get them anyway.
That's right. I think everybody has a desire to get all their bills paid by the end of the year. I think generally all of the officials do. Yeah.
Can,
We have a
Robert,
motion.
yeah, so Robert, can you be sure, I guess in this whole situation, to encourage the department head people to get their bills in for the meeting, or for the run of the 15th? And so that we can get as many of those done in that run, and that the hope would be is that they be, that it be, help minimize it for the 29th,
I can certainly,
as best we can,
yeah, I can.
That is a beautiful way to put it.
the best we can.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so does,
Got a motion,
whoever the
second.
motion and second
I
was,
second it.
we
I
agreed
second.
with
You
that kind
second
of
it.
language?
All we gotta
Okay,
do is vote now.
all right,
So we're back to
I know, but
full-
we didn't answer the
full-blown
question.
claims run.
no,
I mean, we are.
Okay,
We are.
good.
well, I guess you could call it that, but we're
We're
gonna
gonna
work
process
towards
whatever-
not doing it that
we
way.
Well,
gotta-
because I had to include certain things to allow
Oh, just certain
opportunity
things.
for their travel, their hotel rooms, stuff like that. But
I think we're opening it up more than that,
I do too.
okay. But we're gonna try and keep it as minimal as possible. Okay. So, we have the motion and the second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses, 1 no, the nay being Parsley.
Okay, motion's carried. All right, we're going on to the next item, which is receive a drought update. Rob?
Do you guys want me to pull up his attachment on the TV?
Uh,
Is that good
we
enough?
have it,
We
but
have 'em all
just
right
for
here.
the people in the audience.
Yeah,
that okay?
I did, yeah, I did not do, PowerPoint for that. It's just a couple slides. I apologize. I've got a bit of a chest cold that is, just continuing on this evening. One bit update on the weather. I haven't heard of any reports of any damage or anything, from up north town, so.
Okay, thanks.
So that's a plus. As of last Thursday, I went ahead and pulled the drought information at the request of Commissioner Parsley. About half of Scotts Bluff County is in D4, which is exceptional drought. The rest of the Panhandle would be in severe drought. The seasonal drought outlook, which was released May 21st through the end of August, really shows drought persistence over most of Nebraska and the Intermountain West. Some improvement into Colorado and further south, but it looks like on our neighborhood, a lot of persistence. The monthly temperature outlook, it'll be on the second page there. Really for both the month of June and really for the rest of the summer, we're looking at warmer than average. The precipitation, we're right on the edge of slightly more to equal chances. So, which kind of shown on the right side there. So, that's kind of what I've got as a drought update for right now. So, unfortunately, any moisture we get at this point won't put snow in the hills and water in the river. So.
Is the white normal, Rob, or what's?
It would be equal chances. So, equal chances of either more or less, either warmer or drier.
Crapshoot.
Yeah, total crapshoot. You said it first, so it's okay. So, but pending any questions, that's kind of all I've got for that right now. So, I would like it a little more definitive towards weather, but we're just not seeing it yet. There's a lot of uncertainty with the monsoon.
Okay. You're gonna be here for the next discussion, I assume?
Yes, sir.
For the year, can you tell, how far are we behind?
I did not pull
annual.
that information. I know for really the last, probably 7, 8 months, really since September, we've been below average in every field.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't have that exact info, not on the top of my head.
His-
I
historical.
just saw it. It was on Cheyenne weather just the other night, how far behind. And he was doing it for all Casper, Laramie, Cheyenne, all the other different areas.
Yep. I know
we're
for the
way
year
below.
we were close to 30 inches behind on snow.
Yeah, yeah,
Just snow. So
it's just sad, yeah.
I was meeting with some constituents this weekend, and somebody had, and I don't know where they got their statistics, but they said that this drought that we are currently experiencing, we have not witnessed a drought of this magnitude since the Great Depression, since the 1930s. I don't know where that came from, but
I haven't heard that, but that doesn't mean anything either. I know 4 or 5 years ago we were in a similar position, and at that time they were stating pretty openly that that was as bad as it'd been since.
I've heard
the Great
similar
Depression.
statements to that as well.
So if we're not there, we're very close.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you, Rob.
So yeah,
Thank you, Rob.
Yep. No, sorry. One of these days it'll be good news.
appreciate it. Yeah, and you're sticking around because we may have more questions for you, okay? All right, so, we're going to the next item, discuss and consider possible ban, possible county-wide ban on fireworks. Ken, I believe you had this on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah, I've made several phone calls. I have received, I can't tell you how many, either emails, texts, phone calls, personal contacts from individuals, within the county, not so much in town. Although several have weighed in begging us to put a ban on fireworks just in the county. That has nothing to do with the city of Scotts Bluff or city of Gearing or any other municipality, which we don't have the authority to do anyway.
Did you forward any of those by chance?
Did I?
I've got a couple, but I sure don't have what you got.
No, I've got,
today that I received,
Right.
yeah.
or Lisa had gotten.
Well, and if you look on KNB's website, there are, oh gosh, I don't know, 40, 50 comments on it. And everybody is, I got a phone call again from, this morning from one of the individuals that was involved in the fire 4 years ago, that lost a big landowner out there that is, really, really concerned. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of rain, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to take away the danger that is out in that area. I don't think it's gonna be so bad in town. There were a couple said, well, have you seen all the dry lawns? I don't know that that's a concern. My concern would be all the open grass and everything else that's out in the, out within our county. All it takes is one, and we can lose. I think you were involved with part of that 2 or 3 years ago, or whatever that
Carter
was.
Canyon, it came right to the back of my house.
Okay, yeah,
Scary, and it's drier now than it was then.
yeah.
Much drier.
Yeah. I talked with one of the retailers, visited with him, but the email doesn't quite match up to the conversation that we had. He was somewhat concerned if the cities do it, obviously, that their revenue is going to drop considerably. And I'm not advocating that. I don't want that to happen. But my concern is everything out in that area where there's a lot of dry grass. The one comment that he made is that he doesn't believe that there are that many from the rural areas that were even purchasing fireworks.
That's probably
That
true.
I don't know. I don't know how you would know that, but that is the comment that he made. I spent 25 years of my life trying to prevent fires. So I'm kind of an advocate of this thing, and we say, well, we have to be careful and just do it right. All it takes is 1 or 2 people that aren't going to be careful and aren't going to do it right, and we could end up with the same kind of things going on back east, or did go on back east. I think everybody saw the devastation from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the amount of property that was lost. I don't want to see that again. And I think we're real remiss if we don't at least talk about it. I just saw where KNB posted, the safety committee from the city voted to cut it back to 7 days, and will go to the city council for final approval.
They just approved that, didn't
No,
Well,
they-
the city
they-
council hasn't.
they? Oh, they're sending it to the city.
Send-
The
send it to
public,
city
Public
council.
Works Committee.
Okay.
I talked with, the city of Scotts Bluff, their chief, according to the city manager,
wasn't too concerned about the actual city itself. So they, at this particular point, I haven't heard if they're gonna do anything or not. I don't know, which it doesn't matter to us. I think we need to concern ourselves with the county. So that's why I put it on. I would like to get some backing on that, that we could put a ban on the fireworks within the, not the city limits, but to the county. And it doesn't look like it's gonna get any wetter out there.
I think this year is special in the sense, you know, the 250th, and I know, that's important to a lot of people that they have an opportunity to celebrate the 250th. You know, and I understand that, but, this drought is also exceptional, and if there's anything we can do to mitigate, and I've talked with each of the commissioners individually of my concerns about this, I think, with what, Jason provided us, I think statutorily, we cannot outlaw the use of fireworks, within the city limits of,
Yeah.
incorporated cities. That said, really the potential for fire is really outside of those city limits. If the city of Scotts Bluff decides that they're gonna allow it, they have a fire department that can mitigate that, that's one thing. But outside of these city limits, you're talking rural fire and it's volunteer fire departments. It just seems to me that this year, we make a case for, we're gonna ban it outside of the city limits for this year. And I think it's the prudent thing to do, given the severe drought that we're experiencing. And I know that some of you have more rural constituents than I do. And it seems, I too have heard from a lot of people, not so much emails and texts and things, but just talking to them. And it's probably at least 10-1 in favor of placing some kind of a ban and outside of the city limits. I think, what that would do is it would, allow, the retailers to continue to sell their fireworks, and they're gonna set off these fireworks in a place where we can control it and mitigate those potential for fire. To me, that's a solution that, you're still allowing it, but you're containing it. And the Five Rocks, display that they have, fireworks display, if Gearing, volunteer fire department decides that, yes, we can do this and we're gonna be able to place ourselves in a position where we can put those fires out, that's one thing, but it concerns me, the potential for fire outside of these municipalities. How are we gonna be able to control it once it gets going, so.
One of the other concerns that Pat Heath, when I talked with him, and I haven't had a chance to visit with you, I did talk to Pat about it, but, the fact that if something does happen, there may be some of these other departments that would be reluctant to respond, so they're leaving their area exposed. I don't know if that's ever happened, but it's certainly something to think about.
You know, I agree with the thoughts that's been expressed already, but I've been looking at this for about 2 weeks, visiting state statutes. I talked to the fire marshal today, and, basically what I found is, under Nebraska law, there is no single explicit statute that grants county boards of commissioners unilateral authority to ban the use of consumer fireworks in unincorporated county areas. While incorporated cities and villages possess specific statutory authority, Nebraska revised statute 17-137 for second-class cities to ban fireworks. Counties operate primarily under state law, which broadly permits consumer fireworks statewide. However, counties can restrict or effectively limit fireworks through specific alternate mechanisms, and they listed two examples, a state fire marshal, burn ban, and a zoning and, I can't remember right, it's zoning and nuisance regulations. And another area I read was if a county had a county fire marshal, then they could go by the decision of a county fire marshal, which our county doesn't have one, and I don't think any counties in Nebraska do. So it's really kind of a crazy area. I mean, I can identify fires. I got really dry pastures out in my place, and I don't do fireworks. I have neighbors that do. And then in talking with people, I get mixed reviews. But I think the majority of the people are for some type of restriction, which I totally agree with. But as for us commissioners, say putting a ban on fireworks in the unincorporated areas, we can't statutorily do that.
Yes, we can.
We
You
can't.
sure can.
Yes, we can.
I'm sorry.
Name the state statute.
I've called the fire
You were
marshal.
talking about incorporated cities and villages. The outer area is not an incorporated
Right.
city or village. We have every authority in the world to do it.
We do
And
not
the
by
state
state
the
statute.
state fire marshal's office
In
doesn't
fact,
have the authority to do it.
I just talked to him, and
I
he said
talked to him also.
he can't even do it.
I know that.
And then
He
in
can't
the
do
state
it.
statute
The governor
here,
can do it, but the
it
fire
says-
marshal's
it
office
says
can't.
in unincorporated areas, we do not have the authority to do that.
The,
think
the,
we
the
have-
fire marshal has no ban in this state. I called the fire marshal this morning. There's no bans in the state. The
They don't
governor
have
hasn't put
authority
one.
to do it.
Pardon?
They don't have the authority to
We
ban
don't
it.
either.
And we don't either. And he explained it to us. We don't either.
I disagree.
I
Okay, well,
searched, I searched for 2 weeks.
So
We really don't.
We did
Yeah.
have a,
let me just say that knowing that this was gonna be coming up, I asked Jason that he ought to take a look at this so that he could tell us where we stand. And Jason, I think it is important for you to say for everyone that's here, what it is that you came up with and what your opinion is.
So what I found is, and I think what Commissioner Blue is talking about, if you look at just the fireworks statutes and regulations in Nebraska, they don't authorize counties to do anything specifically, but if you have zoning regulations, which Scotts Bluff County does have, then there's a statute that's Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 23-174.10, that says that a county board of commissioners may adopt by resolution regulations as are necessary or expedient to promote the public health, safety, and welfare of the county. And I have spoken to the attorney with the state fire marshal's office, and she agreed that this, if you have county zoning regulations, that you could utilize this statute to take action regarding the discharge of fireworks, not the sale, but the discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated portions of the county. And our zoning regulations state in section 1.2, that part of the purpose of Scotts Bluff County zoning regulations were designed for the purpose of promoting the health, safety, order, etc. of the inhabitants of the county, including, among other things, such specific purposes as, number 4, securing safety from fire and other dangers. And the state fire marshal's attorney indicates that their website states that while the state has certain regulations on fireworks, that local jurisdictions can do more. And there are some specific statutes saying what cities can do. The county's authority comes underneath this broader authority that you've got to take action to make regulations by resolution regarding public health and safety, and fire would be one of those things. But the authority would only be in the unincorporated, because statutes indicate that cities get to regulate certain things, including fireworks in their city limits.
We don't have any jurisdiction in any of that.
Correct.
Right.
And then in terms of enforcement under this 23-174-10, there's no specific statute that says how you enforce it, but state statute has kind of a catch-all statute that provides mechanisms if you have a resolution in areas that don't have a specific, like the statute doesn't say it's a class 2 misdemeanor, and so the catch-all statute does reference this 23-174-10 and says that you could punish it by a class 3 misdemeanor. So essentially, you also have, I think as Commissioner Blue alluded to, some ability to enforce it via like nuisance, but my thought would be that would be almost impossible to do. But if a decision was made, I think the cleanest thing for enforcement would be that this falls under a class 3 misdemeanor, which the sheriff's office could issue citations for. I think the nuisance enforcement of these types of things would be unmanageable. I understand why reasonable minds differ on some of these things. This is a complicated area in that the fireworks statutes and regulations don't mention any county authority, but I believe that this 23-174.10 does give the board the ability to take action regarding the discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated part of the county. My conversation with the state fire marshal's office's attorney, she agreed that authority exists there. Essentially, if the board were to adopt it, and again, I think everyone knows I don't take any positions on whether boards should or shouldn't, just what the authority is. Her reading was the same as mine, indicating that if the board was to take authority, I think the strongest would be on the discharge of use or discharge of fireworks only in the unincorporated portions of the county.
Correct.
Not regarding the sale, because we have other places in the county where you can sell them. That you would need to state, essentially, if you found that there was type of health or public safety emergency regarding the drought, that you would state what that is to utilize this statutory authority, that it would be for some limited period of time. And I think that you would also want to state what the potential penalty would be within the resolution, essentially that would be something that would be enforced by the sheriff's office. And outside of, I think, the specific legal authority, I know one of the things that I've spoken to other counties that have done this, Keith County, Ogallala has done this, I think, the last couple of years, and that's the statutory authority that they cited. I think one of the concerns becomes, because of these different jurisdictional issues, that if a decision is made, other counties have talked about, making sure that the message that gets out is only the unincorporated parts of the county to try to avoid any, inadvertent impact on businesses that sell, because I think sometimes people only read the headline, so that if a county was to say it's banned, that on its face wouldn't be accurate, because the county doesn't have authority to do a complete ban within the county, only in those unincorporated parts of the county.
Both my conversation with Mr. Wilcox, and I believe he covered that in his email also, is that we wanted to make sure that we're not banning him in the city of Scotts Bluff area, or
received
Henry,
that.
or Mitchell, or wherever. That's anything outside of an incorporated city
Yes.
limit.
And that was my understanding from
Yeah.
Mr. Wilcox, and he asked that I forward that email on to the board, so I did that. I know that was one of the concerns that he mentioned.
Yeah.
Let me mention something here that I think we should do. I know we have some folks in the audience that wanna speak. I wanna be sure we give them, full opportunity here, but, I don't have any problem if we have a short version of how we feel, let's say that, and then let's give those in the audience a chance to speak, if we could. Russ, do you wanna say something?
I don't have a problem with the fireworks. The people in this community are, I don't think we've had major fires from fireworks for a long time. We definitely have drought, but I think if people maintain water buckets and take care, I think, talking to Mitchell Fire Chief, they get more dumpster fires than anything on normal years because, people dump their fireworks too soon instead of letting them cool down. I think the people in this community are over 21 years old that are gonna be buying these fireworks, and they're gonna pay pretty close attention to, that property doesn't burn down. They're just as aware of it as we are. So I'm for them to be allowed to have fireworks, so.
Mike, anything else?
Well, I have mixed feelings on it, cause, I live out in the country, I got dry pastures, I worry about that. And with clarification from, statute 23-174.3, under the, safety and protection, including fire, to me, that gives us the authority to do that. And I'm glad to hear that. But there again, in talking with people, and I know our county residents pretty well, and I really feel that they're very capable of using fireworks in a responsible way. I have mixed feelings. I want people to have the ability to make the judgment call, but yet I understand where we're all coming from, fire professionals are coming from. So it's gonna be a really hard decision for me to make, because I'm comparing it with the rights of people and the needs of the community for safety. And like I say, that statute is pretty broad, but it does cover that. So I'm gonna have to do some more thinking before I make my mind up.
I would just say, a couple things, and then I got a list of maybe, I'm gonna throw out some questions that maybe we can get some thoughts and discussion on, but anyway, certainly, Jason, this whole thing has, you had sent out that memo, and I thought that pretty much had declared, that we do have the authority. But then there's been some mixed messages and some other people saying other things, that we seen in the, I think on KNB, and some other people speaking, saying that we didn't have the authority. And, so, it's certainly, I have already said publicly, and I've said it for years, that I am in favor of fireworks. We've been asked to not allow fireworks when we had all the moisture in the world. And the moisture wasn't a problem. But we've had many people, when I was involved more at the city of Scotts Bluff, that did not want to allow fireworks, whether it was for pets or other reasons, that they didn't want to, and I always opposed that thought. I'm a believer that the fireworks celebration is good, and I think I realize even in the best of precipitation scenarios, we have people get hurt from them sometimes. We have fires from them every year of one type or another. But generally speaking, I am in favor of fireworks. Jason, besides, or anybody else up here, are there any other counties that have restricted firework discharge that anyone knows of, besides Keith County?
I'm not aware of any others at this point besides Keith. Somebody had mentioned Morrill maybe taking the issue, Morrill County taking it up, but I haven't heard of any formal.
I haven't either.
I just had a phone call from Sydney and another one from Morrill County.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe they're asking what our
What we're
decision
doing.
was. I don't know. I didn't answer it.
I know back in 2021, Grant County was gonna do a ban on fireworks in the unincorporated areas. And then at their meeting, they changed their mind and did not approve a ban, but that's still the one I found on the
When I
rest.
talked to Doug Holbein, the state fire marshal, a week ago, I'd asked him the same question, and he said he's had a lot of people that are asking about it, what they could do. He's approached the governor multiple times. The governor doesn't wanna take a stand on it at all.
That's
He
what I've
doesn't
heard.
want- He doesn't wanna do anything with it. And he had mentioned probably half a dozen other officials or representatives from different counties calling and asking about it. He told me the same thing he told them. They don't have the authority. Fire marshal's office doesn't have the authority to do a ban.
Right.
That comes from the governor's office, or it comes from a city council or a county board, for the jurisdiction that they're in charge of, so. And that may have changed. And I think part of the difference is that they're not in this, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, they're not in the same drought conditions that we are. We're probably worse than stuff going east, I'm thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's certainly some areas east of Scotts Bluff County that is, in the exceptional drought category. That would include Morrill County and, what is that, Arthur maybe, or some, but anyway, I think the far eastern part of the, state is certainly in better shape than what we are.
when I was talking with, Pat, he had heard or talked with somebody, city manager was thinking of banning it, just within their jurisdiction.
But nobody,
Nobody's
but
done it
in my
yet.
opinion, nobody has yet.
Nobody wants to touch it yet.
Nobody has yet, and Nathan, what I'm understanding is your committee tonight is gonna recommend to the city council to cut it back from 10 days of discharge to 7 days. Would that be true?
Yes.
Okay. And they just recently approved 3 of the large displays, to go off from the all reds. Would that be true? We're talking.
Under a special use permit, yes,
Right.
there's several caveats associated with those.
Right.
Where do they do that at, Nathan? Do you wanna come up here so we can talk?
What?
Visit with you for a
Okay,
minute?
I
Or
suppose.
whenever you're ready.
Well, I'm hoping to get
Oh,
through
okay.
us
I'm
first,
sorry.
and then
I'm
we'll
sorry.
bring them up.
Okay, no problem.
Golf course, Five Rocks Amphitheater, and Oregon Trail Stadium.
Okay. But anyway, that's, Gearing just did that. So they cut it back by 3 days, and, then I seen they're gonna allow the 3 big ones. And I'm, again, several caveats, probably, highly supervised by the fire department. And I seen that they agreed that the fire department could call it off at any time. And so I think that's important.
The 3-day going back 3 days to a 7-day discharge is only a recommendation.
Okay.
It has to be approved by the council. and
Right,
voted
no,
down.
I understand, it's from their committee
Yep.
being recommended to the council, it hadn't been approved yet. Okay. Again, I recognize safety's important. I think if there's anything that, I always like to say that if there's anything that people look to us for, it's safety. When we talk about police and sheriff's office, the jail, the detention center, the courts, there's lots of things that we're involved with safety, and, safety's important, and but I think every 4th of July, there's a degree of concern, no matter what, there is always some risk of, fire and or injury, every 4th of July. But I recognize this one is different. I really, I understand that, and I've struggled too with, which way we should think about. So I also wanted, our mapping department, cause I know we worked on these, rural fire department lines, several years ago, and we tried to get them all ironed out, but most importantly, so what I see here is that we have 7 rural fire protection districts in the county. And as far as I know, none of those fire chiefs from those rural fire protection districts have come to us and said, we would like for you to not allow fireworks to be discharged. As far as I know, we haven't had any. Now, some may have some feelings, and I have not reached out to them, but as far as I know, they have not reached out to us either. One of the questions is, Jason, and that you can think about here, and that's, so I'm wondering if someone is shooting off fireworks and it's obvious that their fireworks starts a fire, and then maybe there's ultimately damages, particularly to, damages in the country certainly could include the grassy areas, but particularly of improvements like homes and buildings and things like that. Can they be held responsible would be one of my questions. And then we talked about enforcement. I think I heard that. And ultimately, Sheriff, I'm assuming that you'll comment on how you might enforce it when we get to letting the rest of these people talk. So anyway, those are some of the issues that I have written down, and all with the caveat that I'm generally in favor of fireworks, and but I recognize we're in a difficult situation, and so does all the other politicians, I'll just say. And that's why the governor's not talking about it, and that's why many other people are not talking about it and not making decisions about it, is because they know it's a difficult subject, and people are, in my opinion, generally in favor of being able to discharge fireworks. And I'm certainly, as someone has mentioned, in favor of not regulating everything. And so that's kind of where I'm at this point. Ken, go ahead with yours. Anything more?
The moving from 10 to 7 days, that means nothing, really, to be real honest with you.
In what regard?
The sale of the fireworks.
I can't answer that. 'Cause
It-
I'm sold for 10 days, I don't know.
Now,
You know, but my point being is that you've got 7 days to shoot it off, or you have 10 days to shoot it off. I was part of the discussions that Mark was talking about with the city back when I was fire marshal, and most of it were nuisance complaints. They were tired of hearing them. So now can we cut it down to 3 days? That 3 days was one that was out there a lot, was 3 days. So you only had to listen to it for 3 days and 3 nights and whatever. I live in an area that I think probably half of your sales are bought with where I live. They've gotta be. I know they are. They've gotta be. And, that I'm not concerned about. What I'm concerned about, if you cut it down to 1 day for the county, all it takes is one person, 2 people that aren't paying attention. And the next thing you know, we have the same thing that happened out here in South Gearing. I was out there with Tim more than once and saw the damage and saw what was going on. I've got a relative that owns a lot of land out there that begged me. It came right up to the back of his house, just like yours. I'm not gonna mention this name, but he sent me pictures of fence posts that were burned off, sheds that were burned, all of this kind of stuff. Eastern Nebraska right now has got 35,000 head of cattle they don't know what to do with. And millions of acres of grass. They say, well, if they get some rain, no, they can't graze it. It's gotta set for at least another year before you can even put cattle back on it. It's gonna be tough. And we don't realize, well, we had a fire. We had to send some fire trucks out. No big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. And it's gonna hit. And it's gonna hit us. And I don't think people realize what the impact is going to be. We don't need to add to that by starting a fire on our end of the state. And why would we even think about doing that? We're in a severe drought situation. All it would take is one pop bottle rocket, whatever, and the next thing you know, we've got a mess on our hands. All I'm doing is doing what I did for a long time and trying to prevent something from happening.
And
Matt?
I'm not in favor of, I'm not a proponent of draconian measures to, impose, limits or, restrictions on things generally. I just think that this current drought is exceptional, and anything that we can do to mitigate the potential for fire, we should do it. And to me, you're allowing fireworks, but you're allowing it in an area where we can control it and we can mitigate it. I had a question for Jason. If such a ban were to be imposed, do you think it would be better to clarify by zone in our county or just unincorporated areas?
Yeah, I think it would just need to make sure that it's specifying that it's in the.
Unincorporated.
Unincorporated
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah, that's all I have.
I have one other comment I forgot to mention when I was here. We've got 7 fire districts in Scotts Bluff County. Somebody on one of these boards prior has, they've been giving these people jurisdiction and authority to do that, to take care of these things. And I don't know why we would sit here and override each one of those 7 fire chiefs if they came here and all sat in a row, or even 2/3 of them, and said, hey, we'd like to not have any fireworks. I'd get behind that 100%. They're not here. They have the authority. We really don't have the authority to tell people to burn or not burn. That's a fire chief's authority. And I think you know that, Ken.
I disagree with it.
Really? Yeah, we have authority to override. We might have to go out and start doing, issuing burn permits if we're gonna take all their jobs away. I don't think I really want their jobs. Personally, I got enough right here.
I'll just let it go. I've said what I need to say.
So I think we need to do a couple things, and what I'd really love to do is, Nathan, have you come up first, Mr. Troutman, right? Maybe you can come up second, Sheriff. Maybe you can come up third, because I think we have about 3 people with a major vested interest in some things. And then after that, whoever else wants to comment will take comment. So Nathan, if you wanna come up first.
I believe Mr. Crowder did speak with all the other fire chiefs. They spoke with him today, and I think he was gonna share their opinion with you. Unfortunately, they weren't able to meet the meeting. I told them quite a bit about it, or they would have been here to discuss it. We do have authority to give burn permits. I did some research on statutes to see if the rural fire boards could institute firework bans, and unfortunately, the rural board districts couldn't institute those.
Not the board, but how about the fire chiefs?
The fire chiefs also, I don't not believe by statute, can enforce a firework ban. I think that comes from the commissioners. Everything I've done, and research-wise, and similar to what he has said, that it has to come from you guys, not the fire chief or the rural fire boards. So, statutes are just specific to the burn and the open burn ban, but what chooses to start that fire, we can't restrict in terms of fireworks. So, unprecedented times, pretty significant drought. My major concern is, we're seeing dry lightning in April and May. We haven't seen dry lightning until August, September. When that occurs, we're having all the fire departments come out. If we're dealing with fireworks elsewhere as another potential ignition source, you're gonna get a delayed response. We were just out 2 weeks ago on a structure fire north. I can't speak, not in our district, but then we had dry lightning come across and spark out several other fires, and we had fire departments on this fire. We couldn't send them to that fire, and that fire grew. So, twofold. My main concern is the conditions, the capabilities of our response. We're always gonna be there. We're always gonna help we can. Limited volunteers, limited opportunity to send and support people. A firework is an ignition source. Just remember that, and anytime you get an opportunity to institute an ignition source into an environment like this, with your ERC ratings and your fuel moistures right now, pretty extreme. I mean, really, really extreme. Above the 97th percentile that we typically would see historically in the last 25 years. So, yeah.
But just remind everybody, fire has 4 causes. natural men, women, and children.
Yeah, that's the
That's,
truth.
I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Yeah. So obviously your guys' choice, I'll let Rob speak to with what other fire chiefs. I'm a fire chief in the rural district, in the Gearing Valley Rural District. We cover 128 square miles, including the city of Gearing. Take that 5 miles out, we're sitting at about 120. This is probably the first year that I've been really, really concerned about fireworks. I can remember a core memory of myself as being 7 years old, going down and buying explosives at a Fresh Foods parking lot and lighting them off without parental consent. And that is the coolest thing. When I go tell people in other states, they can't believe that Nebraska allows that. So truly, that is a core memory of mine. That being the case, it's a really concerning this year. So.
Nathan, you've went on record saying that you would prefer that there would be a fireworks ban, right?
My job is to advocate
Yes.
for safety. My job is to advocate for firefighter safety as well as our citizens and our community. Again, a firework is an ignition source, so if I was to say no, obviously that goes against everything that my job stands for. I would support a countywide burn ban, or our district, I would support that. I know that that's not the case in the corporate limits. I'm trying to compromise with everybody because it does have some effect, like on Greg, and it does have effect on revenue and tax dollars. I get that. I totally understand that. So, we're having discussions at the city on what we can do to help mitigate risk, on top of making sure that we're supporting our own community and tax dollars. Statistically, countywide, we don't see very many fires that start by fireworks. Carissa also shared with me, Chief Shank Grubbs at Scotts Bluff Rural shared with me her data on tops of the last 5 years of fireworks. We do have response to firework fires in the county. That being the case, you're just adding and compounding those potentials, and you have the ability to, manage as you see fit. So, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
Ray, why
Nathan.
don't you come up next?
For those of you that don't know, I think most people know, but I own Fireworks Unlimited.
And-
Do you want me to sign in?
No,
Oh.
what we want you, you weren't here earlier, but,
Yo,
so
sorry.
your name for the record and spell it for the clerk.
Sorry about that. I'm Greg Troutman, Greg, and then Trautman. And I walked in late because I was with
don't
him
make
over
him
at the
when I
Gearing
don't know
Safety
him.
Committee. Yeah. No, that's good. Sorry, I didn't know that. So I do own Fireworks Unlimited. We have locations in Mitchell. Scotts Bluff is a walk-in store. So Mitchell is a trailer that we run, which is like a moving van trailer. So sort of a walk-in store. And then we have one in Gearing and one in Bridgeport. You're not going to believe this, but I actually worked with him. Do we see eye to eye all the time? No. We didn't even agree necessarily on the days that we may or may not recommend to Gearing. But I do see the point of how dry it is in the county. And believe me, Mr. Wilcox, any other retailer, we don't want to be the ones that start a fire either. But if you consider the actual data and the stuff I've heard, and maybe I heard you wrong, but I think he said we've had one firework-related fire since 2019 in the rural county.
My district.
In your district, thank you. So that's 6 years, 7 years, I can't do math, sorry, 7 years, and we've had one firework-related thing. I would just ask that you consider that, like, yes, there's fires, but that doesn't mean that it correlates to fireworks, though. I would tell you from sales and relationships with my customers that people in the county know that it's always dry by the 4th of July, and when it's exceptionally dry, they make sure they don't light fireworks, or not as many, or whatever. They light fountains, or they light novelties, or they don't. If people can self-police themselves to the point of having one fire since 2019, at least with the data we have from his rural fire district, which I grant you isn't the whole county, my biggest concern is that we're being burdened, my industry, is being lumped in with every other cause of fire. And I don't think that's a fair classification. I really don't. Now, I also am here to tell you that I appreciate your time on a board. I think it's a tough decision to make on a lot of accounts, not just fireworks. I think you guys deal with a lot of things. I'm on school board, so I know what it's like to be on that other side and tell somebody I disagree with you and this is what we're gonna do. So I will say I realize it's exceptionally dry. One other caveat that I don't know what you do with it, but like, would there be a special permit application process if you were to implement a ban outside of city limits? And I ask because the country club in Scotts Bluff is one that sits outside of city limits. I understand that they're in the process of being annexed, but I don't think they have been. And I have to tell you, lighting them on the putting green of a golf course that's surrounded by irrigated grass seems like quite a bit lower risk than what we're talking about. And so I would just ask that, and I'm the supplier of their fireworks is why I ask. So if they had a process, and maybe others in the county that do special events, kind of like we were talking about in Garing, just something to think about, could we have at least a part of it where there's an application process where they could still do their show safely, obviously. That'd be my ask and request. My other biggest problem as an industry person, or concern, I shouldn't say problem, my concern is that people read headlines. They don't read the whole story. So when they see Scotts Bluff County banned fireworks, while I understand we're talking about the grass because I'm at the meeting, they're gonna register, I'm in Garing and I'm in Scotts Bluff County, so they're not gonna buy. And that runs into a problem with us because we've already brought in all of our inventory, and just so you know the way our industry works, we can't send them back. We pay for that inventory whether we sell it or not. So even if it's just a reduction of sales, that impacts my staff, my family, and you guys in Scotts Bluff County are in an interesting spot that most counties aren't, in that your two major retailers are residents of the county. We both live in Garing. So I don't know, I don't vacation that much. Vacation money, sure, it leaves the community. I'm gonna tell you 95% of my income from fireworks that my family makes, and then it trickles down to my employees, stays in the community and in the county, which isn't true of most counties. Most of them are heavily, people come in, they pay 10% to whoever runs it, and 90% of your money leaves your county, it goes east. But that's not true in Scotts Bluff County, so I would weigh in on that too. And just to remind you of what I already said, like, I get that it's dry, I just don't wanna be burdened, or I don't wanna be judged when fireworks don't cause that many fires in the county already. So Abe Lincoln always told a story about a little boy that ran into the farmhouse, said, Pa, sister's out in the barn, she's got her dress up and she's fixing to pee in the hay. And the neighbor boy's over and he's got his pants down and he's fixing to do the same. And the dad said, my son, you got the facts right, but you came to the wrong conclusion, right? So we might all have the right facts, just don't come to the wrong conclusion, that's all. And I would ask the media that if you can partner with us, that if they implement a ban, that somehow we're very explicit about not inside city limits, it would be helpful, because I'm sympathetic to the country being so dry. But I hope people don't hear it and not buy in Garing and Scotts Bluff and Mitchell, where it is safer and it is contained.
Mitchell chief said about the same thing. He said their dumpsters catch a fire, 5 to 1. He said we get little calls. He said they don't amount to much. He said mostly dumpster fires in the alleys because people throw everything in too early and go to bed.
Yeah. We want them all cleaned up quick.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate your
Yep, thanks for the
information.
opportunity, I appreciate it.
Sheriff, if you could give us any information you might have, and then Rob, I kind of left you out of this group, but maybe you can be next after the sheriff.
I don't get a vote. And I have no objection to that. Cause it's there's strong good arguments from everybody that has spoken here. And, I've seen fireworks fires that have caused fires in the country. I've seen it. And so it can happen. What Mr. Troutman says, they're gonna have they usually have a display at the country club, and it's professionally run, and they're not gonna set those fairways and greens on fire. So an exception for that would be nice. If you should decide to pass that, the enforcement's gonna fall on the sheriff's department. The place, that I would think would have the most fireworks is probably Lake Minnetonka. That's where you're gonna have the most people. And we are not the lead agency there. It's Nebraska Game and Parks is the lead agency. We have an agreement with them. It's Nebraska Game and Parks, then the State Patrol, cause that's state property, and then us. We have full authority there any time, but, there's roughly 850 square miles in the county, and I don't have a lot of deputies. Enforcing fireworks bans is not gonna be our priority. If you have a fireworks ban, if someone calls us and says somebody's setting off fireworks, we will hear that call. Because you guys, I've listened to Mr. Ocean, and I'm comfortable that you have the authority to do that, and we would go and as we do for most minor things, we would probably tell people to stop because that's illegal. And, you know, the worst case scenario is they would get it, we'd take their fireworks and write them a citation. And then because that's what we do for very minor violations, things like that. The other thing that I've heard is that most of the rural people are careful about this, and I would agree with that.
I guarantee you.
The people that live there are, but sometimes you get some others. So, that's really about what I have said. I mean, I see the arguments on both sides of this, but you are the policy-making body. I am the law enforcement body. So if you make the policy, if it's the law, we'll enforce the law.
Appreciate it. The, come on up, Rob. I will mention, I meant to mention it when Greg was done, but, we did get a email from Mr. Wilcox, and he expressed a lot of the same things you have. And, of course, Mr. Wilcox being the other larger local retailer of fireworks, so just so we know that.
This afternoon, I did have the opportunity to reach out to each of the fire chiefs because I didn't want to speak to their, or speak for them without speaking to them, and I'm not speaking for them in any way. But Mitchell's fire chief was probably the least concerned, for the reasons that you've already highlighted. The rest of them were all sort of in agreement. Really, I mean, the statement they gave me was a ban would be great, but they also see that as unrealistic. They recognize that enforcement would be an issue because the sheriff's department is already busy, so they weren't certain how that would be enforced on the backside. They also acknowledge the fact that it is not just the 4th of July this year, it's a very special 4th of July this year, being the 250th anniversary. And they also did not want to see revenue hurt. So really what they, I guess the short version of what they were thinking is if there was a way to shorten that time frame, much similar to what City of Gering is doing, or at least that was the proposal. So that's kind of what I gathered from the fire chiefs this afternoon. But unfortunately, several of them did indicate they would like to be here tonight, but with the severe weather, they were less inclined to leave their jurisdictions.
Sure.
So.
Okay. And I would only say that, whatever that, if we did a ban of any kind, we're really talking the discharge. Again, we have nothing to do with sales. And, Nathan, when they're talking about, a 7-day rather than the 10-day, you're talking about discharging, I'm assuming, or was that sales as well?
No, they were looking at just discharge.
Right.
Sales wouldn't be affected.
That's what I
Sales
assumed.
would follow statutory,
That's what I thought.
regulation. It wouldn't be anything.
Okay, that's what I thought, so.
You also can't sell in unincorporated areas.
Right.
You can't get a state license to sell fireworks unless you're in an incorporated area. So
Right.
it's kind of not an issue for you guys.
That's what I thought.
Hypothetically, if permits were to be granted, we imposed a ban and permits were to be granted, who would grant those
Oh,
permits?
wow, that's the big question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd add to that too is they also touched on what Chief Flowers did is about staffing and that type of stuff. In the event we have other fires in the neighborhood, the thin line gets thinner. I believe that's all I've got.
Okay, thanks. Robert?
Yeah, so I'd like to, speak just a few minutes, not as the assessor or as the management accountant, but as a rural resident of our county. I agree with Mr. Myers 100%. I think that the conditions are so bad that we have to take extraordinary measures. I would recommend that you take extraordinary measures and ban it out there, because I think you're right when I've heard somebody say that rural residents are very responsible. In general, I believe they are, but it's the people that travel the back roads and drinking beer and setting off fireworks and doing stuff like that that we see a lot of. So anyway, I just want to give you my 2 cents. There's a significant amount of grass where I live. The other concern that I have, and I know my neighbors that have livestock would be very concerned about, is their livestock. Because, you know, you burn up your grass, you possibly kill some animals, you know, damage to fences. And anyway, that's my 2 cents. You hadn't heard from an actual resident tonight, so I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there.
Thank
In rural, are you in the rural area?
Rural, you didn't say rural.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what he said. That's where he-
And we will be there with my 11-year-old grandson. I'll be getting a call about the 25th to go get. So, yeah, I don't want you to lose any money either. And I don't know that you're going to do anything significantly. I don't know. But this is a unique year. This is a unique situation. Have we had any fires? I don't know. Well, I'm hearing not that many from fireworks. That's not counting this year. I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I would say, due to the severity of this drought, I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution outlawing the discharging of fireworks in unincorporated areas within the county.
We have another
Well,
gentleman.
we're not done with discussion, but that's okay if someone wants to second that.
I'll second it.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And so, we have a motion and a second to, ban fireworks, but come on up.
Just ban the discharge of fireworks. We need to be careful
Alan
with
Cordell again. I apologize, I don't know your name, sir.
Jason.
Our attorney.
Yeah.
23-174.10. You read the first part, but you didn't read the rest of it. It says, including regulations to prevent the introduction or spread of contagious, infectious, or malignant diseases, to provide rules for the prevention, abatement, and removal of nuisances, including the pollution of air and water, and make and prescribe regulations for the construction, location, keeping in order of all slaughterhouses, stockyards, warehouses, sheds, stables, barns, commercial, feedlots, dairies, junk, and salvage yards, or other places where offensive matter is kept or is likely to accumulate. Such regulations shall not be inconsistent with the general laws of the state. Now, the general laws of the state, they don't have a ban on fireworks so much. And it shall apply to all of the county. So we can't do one zone, another zone, gotta do the whole county, except with the exception within limits of any incorporated city or village, and except within the unincorporated area where a city or village has been granted zoning jurisdiction and is exercising such jurisdiction. I don't know that our nice sheriff already said that enforcement of this is probably gonna be zero. I don't know that this really gives you guys the rights and the ability to govern this. I live right next to this man.
Yeah.
I live out there, and I'm telling you right now, it's dry and tarnation. We got 20 acres of burnt ground, you know, if it catches anything.
Not nearly done yet.
I don't even drive my lawnmower through that right now because it's so bad. But regulating fireworks isn't gonna change anything. A lawnmower, I mean, you could drive your lawnmower through the field and catch it on fire.
I don't plan on doing that.
Well, that's why I don't either.
But I don't want to go out somewhere where there's 75 or 100 acres of grass and have one.
Well, nor do I. I don't shoot fireworks.
Exactly.
I don't shoot
That's what we're
fireworks off
talking
out there.
about.
But
That's what we're talking about here.
I don't agree with your authority, that you think you have the authority to ban that such.
The man just told us. The state fire marshal told me.
All right, I appreciate
So that's what I'm going by.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree with the speaker that the 23-174.10 does have some things that are included within that, but it's not a limiting clause. It doesn't say you only have authority to regulate the spread of contagious, infectious, or malignant diseases, and some of the things that they indicate fall within the authority, but the authority which is granted under this is if you've adopted county zoning regulations, which you have, you can by regulation hit these areas that, regarding public health and safety and welfare. And our zoning regulations do within that talk about that one of the primary purposes for having the regulations was securing safety from fire and other dangers. And this is not to say that there couldn't be differences of opinion on the extent of this authority, but when I spoke to the attorney representing the state fire marshal's office, she agreed that it's not a limiting clause in that you're only able to regulate things regarding infectious diseases, that it is broader than that. And again, this wouldn't necessarily be a binding precedent, but it's what Keith County has utilized the last couple of years. The most recent resolution that they did last year was 25-42 on May 21st of 2025. And then they amended it in June 2nd of 2025, utilizing that authority. So I agree there could be different readings of this statute, but I don't see that. I think you do have the authority, and they have indicated to me through the state fire marshal's attorney's office that that's why they put on their website that local jurisdictions can be more restrictive. And the cities have a certain statute that governs that, and I think their reading is that this 23-174.10 would be the county board's authority. So there is more listed in that statute, but I don't think it's exclusionary, meaning that that you're only limited to the examples that are provided.
I just got a text indicating Boxview County is also considering this week or next a ban.
Okay, we'll let you go ahead,
One
but
more.
we got
Just-
another guy
Just real
waiting.
fast. So, we have a motion, you guys said, right? But we don't have a resolution. There's not a resolution written, so you really,
There's not.
there's nothing, are you gonna do a motion to write a resolution, or are you gonna do a motion to implement a burn ban?
Well, you heard what the motion was. I think the logistics of that would suggest that it would require us to go back and do the paperwork, whether it be a resolution or whatever, but, I don't know that the motion in and of itself would fully get us headed in that direction, but it certainly would give you indication that that's where we're headed if it passes.
Right, okay.
And I think we'd have to go on the recommendations of the attorney to do the resolution.
Right. Come on up.
My name's Mike Bruner, MikeBrunner.
Thank you.
Been a resident of Scotts Bluff County for over 50 years, and I'm embarrassed to say that this is the first commissioners meeting that I've ever been to. Been to a lot of city council meetings, so I'm not unused to that, but this is very different from hearing city council. Just a few notes while I listened to the debate earlier. If people could police themselves, you'd all be out of a job. We wouldn't need you. no city, the last week's city council meeting, Gearing said, well, what's Alliance doing? What's Shadman doing? Nobody wants to make a decision. They wanna wait and see what somebody else does first. Be a leader. The special event permit is a very controlled event. The fire department has volunteers in attendance. They wet things down beforehand. It has absolutely nothing to do with the sale or discharge of fireworks that everyone's talking about now. I urge you to not let the financial benefit of a few ruin the lives, possibly of many. And one fire that's within your control is one too many. And I'll close with a favorite saying I like to use is common sense is so uncommon that it now qualifies as a superpower. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And I would entertain an amendment to my motion if it helps to clarify whether it's a resolution or a motion or,
Well,
if we feel that needs to be done.
I guess, Jason, that's gonna be a question for you as to whether or not, where we head from there, and if this passes, what we would need to do. But I wanna ask, before we get that far along, do we have anyone else that wants to speak on this issue? I wanna give everybody an opportunity that wants to speak on it.
I'll just read this one item on Google, and it's about Nebraska state statute. Under Nebraska state law, there is no one single statute that broadly grants county commissioners the blanket authority to ban or regulate the use of consumer fireworks in unincorporated areas. Instead, fireworks regulations are governed by the state and municipal levels. Are we municipal owned?
No, we're not.
It says county commissioners have not have the right.
Well, and that's I don't know exactly where that's coming from. I recognize it's Google, but Google by itself
Well, it goes
doesn't
down
mean
to,
anything to me.
the statute was 1220, or what was the statute? Statute is 1244, or 28-1244.
Chapter 23 leads counties, correct? Chapter 17 leads cities,
Yeah,
correct?
chapter 23 is regarding counties.
Well, we're paying this, our attorney, you know, the $7 an hour to be here. I would tend to go with with what he's saying. I think it's broad, but I think it's still narrow enough to give us that authority. Ms. Bruder, I thank you for your remarks, by the way.
And
Thank you.
if I look back at my original motion, it does state that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution outlawing the discharging of.
My
so-
best guess is that's where we would have to head with this.
We
but-
adopted it.
In
And-
unincorporated areas.
And also
But-
my second will remain the
Well-
same. Okay,
I
So
thought
did-
the motion was clear about creating.
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go back and ask, is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak? Because then I'm gonna kinda close that and we're gonna go to finalize the commissioner stuff here and or Jason. All right, seeing none, we will, go ahead and I guess, Jason, knowing what you heard about this motion, then, would you prefer to have an amendment to that, or, I mean, to me, even if we vote on that and approve it, it's gonna require possibly a resolution to come before us.
Yeah, I think under that statute, it indicates that, in any county that's adopted zoning regulations like Scotts Bluff County has, the county board by resolution may make regulations and in speaking, and again, I'm not weighing in on whether you should or you shouldn't, that's totally your
Right.
decision. But, you know, I think the, direction from the state fire marshal's legal counsel is if a decision is made that, you know, you're on strongest ground if you choose to do that, if it's by resolution. If if it's just regarding, you know, discharge or use, and you state the nature of the, you know, public health or safety issue that you're aiming this at, and it be for some, you know, limited period of time, you know, to deal with and it may be something that would need to be revisited. But those were the, you know, in terms of the legality of it, that would put it on the strongest footing if you as a group of commissioners chose to take that action.
So I'm gonna ask if we, this motion's on the floor, and if we approve this motion, do you see that then meaning that that would be the instructions for you to go and prepare the resolution, and that we adopt that at the next meeting? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think that would probably be the safest, you know, to make sure that it spells out all those legal areas within the resolution, and then that would be.
Because we're not gonna, I mean, you're not gonna on the fly here tonight create the resolution, I don't think, right? Right, so that's really not gonna happen tonight. But it would be, I think the motion, if it passes, would be, direction for Jason to adopt, create a resolution that would be a final adoption, would be at the next meeting, the way I see it.
Let
Does
me ask
everybody
one
agree to
question.
that?
Do you know of anybody else besides the country club that's going to do an organized display? Right?
In the past, the Raceway did, Highway 92.
Okay,
And they are outside of city limits as well, but it's at county limits, obviously.
okay.
They would be the only one that I know of in Scotts Bluff County. Bridgeport Rodeo also does, but obviously that would be.
That's Morrill County, yeah.
Morrill County issue, yep. So that'd be the only one that I'm aware of. And
How,
I would encourage you to have a sunset time on it, because state statute, technically, if you're in the country, you can buy them anytime you want. It just dictates when we can sell. If that makes sense. Because if you don't have a sunset, Scotts Bluff County residents outside of city limits wouldn't be able to have fireworks until you repealed it or whatever. So if it passed.
well, it would be whatever the state statute says, the midnight on the 4th.
State doesn't say that.
Oh, not for the county, yeah.
Not in the county.
You're right, out in the
Not
county.
city.
You can shoot fireworks off out there whenever you want to.
Yep, when I lived in a sanitary improvement district in Bellevue, I technically was not even an incorporated part of town, and I could have lit fireworks 365 days a year.
Yeah.
I chose not to because of pets and respect to
Sure,
neighbors and
sure. I
that sort of
understand.
thing, and I didn't want to explain it to everybody. But technically, I could have by state law, so that's why I would ask for a sunset if it was approved.
That
Because otherwise,
right, that
we're really
resolution
restricting what the state has already approved.
have a
Good point, yeah.
sunset date to it. All right, any other discussion? So the motion is to move to, not allow the discharge of fireworks, in the unincorporated areas of the county, which includes all the unincorporated areas, the way I see it. And that motion would effectively then instruct Jason to prepare a resolution and bring it back to the next meeting. Anything else to be said?
Can I just ask when your next meeting is?
2 weeks,
That's what I assumed.
yeah. Okay, all right. Hearing no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. Mike,
Yeah, my
yours.
thing isn't working.
Can you press it again?
Went dead.
Battery shot.
Sure, you just haven't made up your mind yet?
Go.
I can give you a verbal vote.
Hit that-
Well,
hit
that's
that-
what we'll have to do if we
hit
can't
this
get it.
top there, can you clear, or is it dead?
It's,
You may have to
I
switch
know,
out your
I know.
battery. I've had that.
Use your ink pen and push down,
Let me try it
that's what I
again.
gotta do.
yeah, it's not registering, so I'll have to give you a verbal vote.
I guess that's what we'll have to do, right, Jason? Okay,
We've
so,
done in the
well,
past.
but I think we oughta,
should get it
we
first.
oughta
That
get
before
his
you know
vote
what the
I
result
was
first.
gonna say, he
Before
better
he
do it
show-
first then.
Right, he should go first.
I vote yes.
Wow, I can't read the vote.
Oh,
Because we don't have it.
If I can't close it, I can't read it.
It's not my fault.
You vote yes to
yes, to
the
the motion.
resolution
Right.
to ban.
Use my battery.
I don't know, what does it say when? Well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Use your pen to see if that works. That's what I have to do on mine.
Well, and
My,
if-
my finger won't let it register.
It's just the battery, I think.
Yeah.
if not, she can simply call the,
Does that go up to here?
Results.
It don't go to the screen, it probably goes to here, don't it? Will
But
receive-
I can't close, what I'm saying is I can't close.
Does it receive it over here though, Kelly? Does it receive here or does it receive over there when you do that? Do these buttons collect?
My little.
Oh, you have it there, okay.
It's magic, Russ, I don't know.
Well, why don't you just hit any of
Are
the
you-
buttons and we'll just go with a yes.
let me ask you this. Are you able to read those votes
No, she can't
off
close it.
with your information?
She can't close it until.
Can't close,
Tell
just
me
hit
it
any
works.
one of the votes and we'll accept it as a.
Okay, hang on. We've never not been able to get everybody to vote,
I know,
but it says close vote,
okay,
There it is.
right there.
and there it is.
How the hell,
So
I
you
hit
have-
I hit a red, I did not hit a green. But anyway, it don't matter.
All right, yeah,
I
either
voted-
way.
I voted no again.
So the,
I don't think it's voted.
yeah, you voted wrong twice tonight, you said.
I did,
All right, well, either way,
I did.
the motion will carry either way.
I hit that. When he got jammed up, I said, well, I hit that and I hit
All right.
that one.
So
Took mine.
that, Jason would tell you to prepare the resolution. And when that resolution comes to us, then we're going to be voting again. Right? So, anyway, just so we're aware of that. Okay. Anything else on this item that needs clarification for you, Jason?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. So that's where we're at. All right, so I believe that brings us down to our old business section where there's nothing on the agenda. The next one is public comments. Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented this date. Is there anyone here this evening from the public that would like to discuss something? Steve?
I know your name.
I'll wait.
But do it
Okay.
anyway. I like it
fine. My name
to
is-
get in the habit
He
of
doesn't
doing
need
it.
to wait for me to write it down.
Yeah, my name is Steve Loveledge, Stephen, Loveledge, Lovedge. And just listening to the whole discussion, I'm not for or against, I'm not saying, but it made me think of, we all know what happened to the Titanic. It was never to ever to sink. But they didn't look at the icebergs. You know, they just saw the top. And I guess my curiosity is for you all to know how much money is spent on fireworks in this county. That might give you a better idea how broad of a situation this is. You know, I have no idea myself, but I was just kind of wondering about that. You know, if you had a little bit of fireworks, but if it was thousands and thousands, I mean, I've been in there and I've seen $500 right off the bat, people, and I've seen people $1,000 spend on fireworks. So how much fireworks are being sold here in this county? And maybe that'll just give you a broader idea of the iceberg, what's underneath, not just the top. Something to think about. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? Public comments? All right. So I don't see anyone else ready to speak. So we'll move on to the next item, which is board and staff reports with discussion. Where'd we go last time? Were you first last time, Robert?
It doesn't matter.
Kelly?
I don't wanna be here anymore, so I don't have anything.
Okay. Cindy?
Just real quick, you asked me last meeting for numbers, so here I am.
You got some numbers, huh?
The last year, and it ranged, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't the same amount every year. We have the same number of people, but the amounts that came into our department was different.
Okay.
Because there was no way to enforce. If they wanted to pay, they paid, and if they didn't, they didn't. Last year, it was 114,000. If the ordinance that we go through and work with the numbers that we have been looking at so far, if that is approved, then it would be 134-ish thousand that would be income to my department. So it is an increase from what it has been years past. That's really all I have. I just wanted to give you your numbers tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Rob, anything further tonight from you? Okay. Jason?
No, nothing additional, thank you.
Okay. Robert?
Just a couple of quick items. Some of you may already know this, but Scotts Bluff County is hosting a monthly regional governance meeting this month so it's going to be on Wednesday this week, the 3rd. So we'll be hosting it here in this room, and the county will be presenting to the other governing bodies. The only other item I want to report on is that I was invited by the Lions Club to give a presentation and on June 17th over lunch, so I'll be doing that. They want a presentation over the taxation process, so I'm happy that they asked and happy to do it. So,
Good.
Yeah, that's it.
John, do you have anything? Sheriff?
Yes.
Do you have anything?
I have nothing.
All right.
Nothing that I haven't spoken to say.
Anybody else back there, staff-wise? All right, Russ?
Nothing.
Mike?
I had an emergency management advisory board meeting this morning. I got a county housing board meeting tomorrow at noon. And I've heard through the grapevine that our housing director has accepted a job in Kearney. I guess I'll find out tomorrow at the meeting.
Okay. All right. I think the only thing I had on my list was the regional governance meeting. And I plan to go to that on Wednesday noon.
Okay. At Kaplan, we have another Kaplan meeting tomorrow night. Aging office is still kind of a little turmoil, after removing their top two folks. They're in the process now of advertising for another director. And those meetings will take place a week from this Thursday night, next week. I'll get more on those. One of the things at the Kaplan meeting, helped me with this, Monette. The subcommittee I'm on with, lost her name. Anyway, we discussed the juvenile detention center quite a bit.
and she deals with, yes, she deals with the house on Broadway. The youth shelter, and, very interested in wanting to keep updated on where we're at on the detention center. And I also found out that we have two places, one out on County Road 33 and another one in Gearing, that is a privately run, where they take in.
I knew the one up on 33.
Yeah, they take in kids, which I didn't realize.
Privately run what?
But they bring kids.
Privately run a youth.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Most-
kinda like, I don't even know what you would really call it. I didn't know anything about it.
Most of the kids that come in on County Road 33 are back from back east, or from Lincoln. or
Well, there's
Omaha.
two local ones in there right now, which is how I found out about it.
Oh.
I sold the house originally
Oh, really?
to a family, and they're going, no, there's a family. No, it's a.
We had a
it's
pretty big meeting about that way back when I first got on board, if you remember, there was a pretty big.
Yeah, I remember, I sold the house originally. It belonged to my nephew.
Oh, really?
So,
I know there was,
but I didn't realize it, and she was well aware of it and talked about it quite a bit. So there's a lot of talk about it and the need and everything else, so just put that out. And I wanna thank those that did speak tonight on the fireworks. I know it's a tough issue. But I do appreciate and I'm hoping it doesn't affect you that much, Greg, to be honest with you. I don't think it will, but I'm keep my fingers crossed for you. I don't wanna see you get hurt either. Or Robert's pastor.
So, I attended a county budget prep refresher webinar last week, and I was telling Robert, man, that 90% of it went over my head, but it's good to be exposed to state statutes, what we are required to do, what we cannot do, and so I'm slowly getting myself more prepared for that's coming up. Tourism Board met last week. They approved a $1,500 grant for Oregon Trail Days. They're still looking at the 250th anniversary celebration. It looks like they're gonna do it the end of September, first part of October. I think we do the Monument Marathon the end of September, but somewhere in there, they're gonna do the 250th, and they're trying to get the Creative Beat District to join with us in doing that celebration. Boys State Golf was last week. Just to give you an idea of what that brings in, it was out at Scotts Bluff Country Club, and I think Scotts Bluff Country Club has this state meet for the next 3 years, and just an idea of what it brings in. They gave, I wanna say $2,000 to get this state meet. But anyway, George Holthus was one of the people that was assigned to direct cars, cause there are so many cars out there that and there's only limited space, I guess, out there at the country club. So they had another place where they directed cars, and he went around and counted out of county cars, and there were 144 out of county cars for that event. If you 3 people per car, that is 432 guests, not including the athletes and their coaches and stuff that attend that. The amount of money that it brings in, staying in motels here and what they spend, it's significant. If they stayed here 2 nights, they estimate that it would triple the amount of their investment. So that's a good thing. So I'm also planning to attend the NACO County Board Workshop in Kearney. I'm leaving tomorrow for it, but it's the Wednesday, Thursday. That's all I have.
Can I ask you a question on the tourism? Do you have any idea if Brenda is, either herself personally or having somebody use the software that we bought into when Charlie was here and we went half and half with TCD, and we can
Placer
track those cars that you're talking about.
Placer AI.
Placer AI.
That was
You
only
know
for
if
1
they're
year,
using
though.
that?
I think it was a 1 year.
It was a 1 year deal.
thing,
It's
and I think we
expired.
decided not to
Renew it.
continue with it, renew it. Twin City, or it's not Trusted Community Development, I
Yeah.
think is what they call themselves now. But
TCD, still TCD.
they've stayed with it because it seems like it fits with them, and
They
I
did.
think we discontinued it. So,
Okay. We discontinued, meaning the tourism committee?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think
Because I thought-
she proposed to the board that we discontinue that contract.
Does anyone remember that? I don't
I'll have
remember
to
us
look at it.
taking
I'll have to
action
look
on
at
that.
it.
You just started so much trouble, Matt.
Yeah.
Talked about it during one of your meetings, but I can't remember how far back it was. That's what they.
Well,
I wanna say it was like $15,000 is what we were paying for that.
I thought more than that even.
Really?
What?
I thought it was 30,000 and we split
Yeah, we
it,
were
so it'd be
paying half.
15.
Oh, we paid half, I know
15,000.
that. You think it
That'd
was
be
30?
15. I thought the whole thing was 30 and we split it.
Okay.
Right,
Well, we
exactly.
split it, I know that.
Well, I thought it
It
was more
was.
than that.
So, I'll
I
have
did
to
too.
ask
I
her.
thought it was more. But anyway,
thought it was
could you
70,000.
find out and let us know next time?
Yep.
Okay. All right,
I have-
anyone else?
I have one more thing. I wanna be sure that I go on record that I voted for fireworks for the county.
Okay.
Because my button,
Russ, I know you did.
okay, you know it.
We heard all of the words coming out of your mouth how you
I wanna be
voted.
sure that I
Right.
go on record as that.
The only unfortunate,
The only thing
I got
is,
to
it
thinking
didn't show
about
on the board
that.
that way.
Still
yeah, and once they're put up there, I
You
don't
can
think
still
we-
change it back
Well-
and forth. So
I
if he
bumped
was
it
showing
twice.
him,
When Mike was messing around, I thought, well, I just got to
I
do
if
that.
he pushed the other button, it changed his
It
vote.
did, it changed it and it
Right.
locked it, cause I pushed the red again and it
But
evidently
the
locked.
whole point to using that system is so that when you vote your own conscience.
Yep.
I did.
And you
then
don't vote because of what everybody else said.
No, I
And
didn't.
so because of that, I don't see that being appropriate to allow a change. And
Well-
I'd love to be able to say you could have there, and you didn't ask to.
You need to get this going around before everybody's gone.
I didn't even
the
know it
thing-
was there.
The thing, it was, the whole purpose is for a private vote.
Right.
And it's what it showed on the screen is that even though we heard his words.
And I hate it. I've done it before too, once, that I
But
remember.
you
I did it
change-
twice tonight.
You can change back and forth clear until I close the vote.
Right. But once it's closed,
But once
it's
I
over.
close the vote,
And it shows up there, it's not right to let someone change their vote at that point.
Well, I'm still sticking with it, that I messed
No,
up.
I understand.
I
I know
messed
you
up.
did.
But I'm not trying to go with the vote, I'm trying to go against the vote.
All right. So, anything else? Hearing none. We're adjourned.
oh man, what time is it?
7:45.
7:45.
Before I have to go to bed.
Plenty of daylight.
Do you have time to eat?
I was supposed to cook dinner. I just texted her and said, make some tuna fish.
My biggest fear is all of a sudden that
She'll make tuna
4th of
salad.
July night, we have a big fire.